everybody. Welcome to Impossible Coin. I can't remember if I promised Dave Lang in the last episode or not.
You didn't.
Okay, fine. Then next episode you get Dave Lang. Not the episode you're currently listening to. There you go. I promised something. So, I guess some stuff happened this week, which means that I guess we'll be closer to a show which is organized. How does that sit with Tegan Somerset?
That's fine. I don't mind.
How does Structure deal for Rocky Hardy? Does Structure tremble before him? Or does Structure become his begrudging partner? How do Rocky and Structure get along?
I thrive in Structure. I think we have a very symbiotic relationship. I try to push it to its absolute limits, and I'm good about not crossing the structure. Sometimes that's its own weakness, but I like to look at it as a strength.
Excuse me, Egon. I thought you said that crossing the structure was bad.
No, it's crossing the streams. Fuck off, Brian.
I'm trying to have fun.
You can have fun if you want to, man. You can leave your friends behind.
But if your friends don't mess with Structure, they're no friends of mine.
Okay, so guys, I watched a rom-com, and I'm going to talk about a rom-com for a little bit, you know? Prepare yourself. Apparently on Netflix, an old rom-com climbed into the top 10, which is, a new thing. It's the MySpace top 8 of the internet now. And an old Reese Witherspoon flick, How Do You Know?, which puts her in a love triangle between Paul Rudd and Owen Wilson, was actually a pretty good rom-com. It dodges a lot of the usual traps. We got a unusual beginning, which was a failed blind date between an aging national softball player and a executive that's about to be investigated by the SEC, and a unsatisfying relationship between said softball player and a professional, National League pitcher.
Wait, is Jack Nicholson in this movie?
Jack Nicholson is in this movie. He's Paul Rudd's dad. He's a dick. It's kind of amazing. Also, Catherine Hahn really swings for the fences in this movie, and I really appreciated her performance. Yeah, man. It was good. It really, dances around the idea of, romance instead of being this, one-size-fits-all, feelings explosion, being something closer to, a negotiation of, a connection between two people. It's an intensely personal thing. There are a couple romances that play out throughout the film that wouldn't be, exactly enviable for a lot of people, but are still touching and, meaningful and, valuable. And I really appreciate that. There's actually a proposal that led to a pretty humorous scene where proposal is reframed as, a decision, I want to marry you, versus, a literal proposal, which is, I think that we should get married, where, the characters are not, a proposer and prosee where one's being acted upon, but, a negotiation where both of them get to enter into an agreement, which I thought was really meaningful.
Oh, wait a minute. This is a James L. Brooks movie?
Yes, it is. Right, Brian? Right, Brian? I'm telling you, man. This movie fucking slapped. It deserved to be in the top 10. And I'm kind of mad that I didn't watch it in fucking 2010 when I was, really into rom-coms for a teenager. But whatever. But yeah, I suggest everyone go watch it. It's really fucking good. It's a rom-com that makes me believe in rom-coms again.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Everyone turns in good performances. I mean, Jack Nicholson's not his best, to be fair, but it's a pretty solid Jack Nicholson. And, Owen Wilson epitomizes, everything that the internet hates about him, which is fun, especially in this particular scenario. Paul Rudd is probably one of his best Paul Rudds we've ever seen. And, Reese Witherspoon turns in good work. And once again, Catherine Hahn was a great surprise. An incredible treat.
Yeah, I feel like Catherine Hahn is grossly underrated.
She is, man. And the guy that she plays against, she is technically a minor character, but her romance is a big part of the overarching story.
Mm-hmm.
And she's pregnant throughout the film. And she's constantly worried, righteously angry, and thoroughly concerned. And she has this huge heart throughout the film. And the man that she's involved with, the father of her child, she's not married, and that, brings her uncertainty about her relationship and her future. And the man that they have play her beau, who's called Al throughout the film, I think he literally had one scene in the film. And it was probably the best scene in the film, Brian. It was fucking fantastic. Al is played by Lenny Venito. Huh. Oh, you know what? I think I see why. He was in a string of pretty bad movies before that. Before How Do You Know, he was in Jiggly, and he was also in War of the Worlds. He probably had a lot going against him, and maybe that's why they only used him for the one scene. Also, the actual, like, poster for How Do You Know is really underwhelming. It's very, like, Spanglish or, like, The Holiday. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's hilarious that you just called out Spanglish, because it is also a James L. Brooks picture. Which means you're like, oh, wait, so this isn't one of those Adam Sandler movies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like, no, this is an Adam Sandler Cares movie, which means it's good. But, like, if you just look at the poster, you're like, well, I guess Adam Sandler is standing on a beach. There are people there.
Oh, actually, Spanglish is probably not the right one I was thinking about. But, like, How Do You Know does that cover art thing where they have, like, the 4 leading roles and they're just kind of, like, in profile, like...
Oh, sure, like... They've usually got titles like 4 Thanksgivings or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I know The Holiday originally had a cover like that.
Yeah. Which is different than, like, you know those rom-coms whose poster look like a character select screen from a Capcom fighting game?
Yeah!
Like they're following, like, 9 different plot threads.
Right.
You'll get, like, a grid, which are most of, like, the major characters, and occasionally... the comedy animal, which stars in, like, plot number 6. It's like, and they have to get back this parrot, and then they fall in love. And you're like, oh yeah, I'll definitely learn to connect with these characters during the 7 minutes they're on screen.
See, I kind of feel bad, because while, like, The Holiday is, like, held up as a rom-com classic, I still believe that it would have been better executed as just, like, a fucking miniseries, but, like, at the time, like, miniseries weren't really getting greenlit back then, at least for rom-coms. And I feel like a lot of those, like, compilation movies that they've done since, like New Year's Eve or Christmas Day or whatever the fuck, if they had just, you know, taken, I don't know, 10 half-hour episodes, it would have been a lot better than, like, the actual film they try to throw together.
Well, I think that those movies, like, you'll notice they're always, like, they always pivot around, like, a holiday.
Right.
It's because every one of these fucking things is chasing that elusive goal, which is Love Actually. You're like, let's be as good as Love Actually. And it's like, I'm sorry, they're not thinking let's be as good as Love Actually. They're thinking, let's make money like Love Actually made money.
Right, exactly.
It's like, well, people like Love Actually because it's a well-organized, cohesive film with, like, intent and heart and a bunch of very good performances. And you can't just, like, pay 18 celebrities and be like, hey, you like these 18 celebrities and check out their disconnected tales. Like, I really don't care if Vince Vaughn rides on a plane beside Katherine Heigl. And then when we get off the plane, we find out that Vince Vaughn is actually the guy who's making the suit for Kira Sedgwick to wear to her wedding. Ugh, they're not good at it. Stop trying to make Love Actually. You know, I got on a jag this week. I'm sitting around on the couch, and Beth and I had just watched an episode of The Twilight Zone.
New or old?
New.
For sure.
Let me just set the table here. Every attempt to revive The Twilight Zone until the one happening right now has fucking sucked.
Sure.
Because, like, generally people fail to get what Rod Serling was trying to do, and so when they make a Twilight Zone, there's just, it comes off like that Outer Limits, like, you know, tab cola bullshit. The current Twilight Zone, the one which Jordan Peele is running, is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Jordan Peele as the narrator is very good.
For sure.
Yeah, he's got that presentation down pat. But there is an episode of the current season of The Twilight Zone which has Ethan Embry in it. And it's Ethan Embry with a beard. Like a full, thick, robust beard. You, like, spend, like, your first few, like, seconds looking at him and go, like, what the fuck is that? Like, he seems so familiar. What the fuck? And then you're like, oh god, that's Ethan Embry. And then there's a later episode in the season, an episode which stars Christopher Maloney, where the other star of the episode is Jenna Elfman. And, like, between these two things, it brought to mind Can't Hardly Wait.
Yes.
And I think this is one of those things where there probably is, like, a generational divide here. Because I am the absolute right age to have Can't Hardly Wait be, like, the quintessential anthemic theme, teen film of my age. Like,
for sure.
Can't Hardly Wait is my teen movie. I feel very attached to Clueless, but I think Can't Hardly Wait was more right film, right time. I think that if you were probably to, like, ask my wife, she'd probably say, like, Clueless. But it's one of those things where it's just such a matter of inches, like, in what generation are you for your teen movie? Well, Can't Hardly Wait is my teen movie.
Yeah.
And because, like, Ethan Embry and Jenna Elfman were on my television, I was inspired to go back and watch it, and was, like, pleased at how much of this stuff in it held up. There are certainly some things that Can't Hardly Wait that do not hold up.
Mm-hmm.
There is some homophobia played for chuckles in that film.
Yep.
But outside of the homophobia, the film mostly holds up. A lot of it has to do with how absolutely, like, charming and adorable Lauren Ambrose and Seth Green are as, like, the two kids who end up having sex in the bathroom. They have the story of kids who were, like, close in elementary school but, like, grew apart in high school because that's when, like, kids first get into bullshit posturing. And it's a very relatable story because I think most people, like, know someone that they used to, like, play with, like, toys and pretend to be robots with that, like, as soon as they discovered posturing, grew apart. And so that's, I think, something which is very, very relatable.
Mm.
But that, like, led me to watch, like, Mean Girls, which was funny enough because it only came out 6 years after Can't Hardly Wait. But, like, there's some, like, cutoff point in my brain that recognizes that Can't Hardly Wait is now an old movie. But, like, you get to a point where you're old enough where you treat anything made after a certain year as new. You're like, oh, this is new. And everything older than that, you recognize ages.
Well, I mean, Brian, if we want to talk numbers, like, Can't Hardly Wait, like, can buy beer, They can vote. If I remember correctly, I think Mean Girls is, like, technically still in high school.
Mean Girls has its driver's license.
Yeah, Mean Girls is a sophomore. Sophomore on the older side, but the sophomore in high school. Well, Can't Hardly Wait can buy beer.
Can't Hardly Wait is graduated from college.
Wait. Well, maybe. Yeah, 22, 23. That's
22,
nice.
yeah. I mean, I suppose if Can't Hardly Wait took a year to go to Europe, then...
Yeah. Speaking of which, Eurotrip is actually my teen movie. And Scotty Doesn't Know still fucking slaps. And I'm still kind of mad that for, like, the longest time, I couldn't figure out that Matt Damon wasn't actually the frontman for that band. Excellent movie. Fucking fantastic. They did also play some homophobia for laughs, and there was a big joke in the movie, which was, like, accidental incest, which is a whole thing, but, whatever. Jesus.
Yeah. Yep. And Eurotrip is another movie that it, I guess, occurs, whatever the epoch in my brain is that says everything past this date is new.
It came out the same year as Mean Girls, sorry.
Okay. So whatever that date is apparently around or just slightly before 2004.
Also, Michelle Trachtenberg, like, that was excellent. Shout outs to everyone that was involved.
Yeah. Scotty Doesn't Know. Jesus Christ.
Brian, Scotty Doesn't Know slaps. Tell everyone you know.
Ugh. Tegan, what's your teen movie?
What?
What's your teen movie?
I do not know what you mean by that. Like, I've listened to this entire conversation. I have no fucking idea what you mean.
Well, like, okay, like, Tegan, like, for example, for some people, American Pie is their teen movie, right? It epitomizes the teen experience, that awkward age, and like the connections and like experiences that either you had or hoped to have during that time in your life. And it came out when that conversation was relevant.
Okay. Is this the part of the show where I remind you guys that I don't really watch movies?
It could be anime. Like, I mean, if Fully Cooley was a movie, it would have been my teen movie.
I don't know. I wasn't expecting anything out of my teens, so...
Fair enough.
You know.
You never sat down in the theater when you were in your teens and came out of the movie going like, yeah, man, that's the score.
No. No, I really did not. I didn't watch a lot of movies in my teens. Still don't watch a lot of movies now. There were a couple times where I was invited to the movies and the plans changed and people forgot to tell me because I didn't have a cell phone. So I'd just hang out at the movies by myself. Does that count?
Jesus Christ, Teague.
That's a thing that happened on multiple occasions.
Oh my god.
Tegan gets stood up at the movies?
Yeah.
By, like, friends, though. Like,
by friends. Yeah.
Like, call the
I mean, it's kind of my fault for not having a phone. Like, there was no way to tell me the plans had changed once I'd already left the house.
Tegan, there's no way this is your fault. Like, someone could have called the house and like, oh, hey, can someone tell Tegan that we're not going to go to the movies anymore? And then your parents would have been reasonably mad at those people, but then they'd also would have gone to pick you up. Like...
I mean, you know.
See, now I just got Scotty Doesn't Know stuck in my head. This is just going to be my life for the next 3 hours or whatever.
Yep. You see, Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky, I need you to focus up.
Man, I'm still here, dude. I can do two things. I can do a whole bunch of things. I also, what's it called? I finished my rewatch of New Girl. I kind of started at the beginning because, like, I sort of missed it. I missed these ridiculous people. And, you know, as I'm approaching, like, my 30s, the shenanigans that they were up to in New Girl, like, had new relevance. Albeit it was a bit difficult to get through because, like, they're doing, like, Friends, How I Met Your Mother style shenanigans, but they're not, like, in their mid-20s anymore. Like, they're definitely in their 30s and they're just doing this wacky bullshit. And, like, I couldn't... A lot of the time when I was watching the show, like, I had to stop watching the show. Like, when they're at a friend's wedding and one of them wants to sabotage it, and they, like, let one of them decide to go nuts with pranks. Brian, you watched New Girl, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you remember Winston, how, like,
yes.
Can't prank effectively, either goes too big or too small?
Yes.
And they're at Cece's wedding, and he decides he's going to take a raccoon and put it in the vents, and he's crawling around in the vents with the raccoon. And, like, I had to stop. I had to turn off the episode and come back in a couple of days when I could, like, reasonably process that information. And then, like, I come back, and then it turns out that the guy that Cece was marrying was in a relationship of his own with Taylor Swift, and she just is on screen for 45 seconds. And then it's just Taylor Swift is here, and then she's gone, and that's the end of the episode. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess.
Yep.
And, like, there was really great stuff early on. And then later on, season 5 plus, when, like, the show got a bit wackier, it kind of lost its roots. Like, it lost track of, like, its characters and, like, did things that didn't make sense. Like, back then, there was a character, Schmidt, who had a relationship with a woman that was almost entirely predicated on, like, being yourself and impromptu dancing. And in season 5, there's a whole episode where his, like, B plot is that he is so, like, tightly wound that he can't bring himself to dance impromptu in front of his wife, who's now Cece. And, like, that doesn't make sense over the course of a couple of years. Like, even if they try to, like, frame it within, like, this relationship I act differently, like, he's still a dude that would, like, impromptu dance in public all the time. Like, I don't understand why this is, like, a hiccup for him. And so that wasn't fun. But we got to the end of it, and, you know, they got all the characters together that were going to get together. And the last season was absolutely rushed because, like, it was a 22 episode season show, and the last season was like 7 episodes. So they definitely were just trying to get out the door on that one. So it was very different, like, feeling from, say, like, finishing, like, Parks and Rec, that really got room to breathe and room to finish. But New Girl's a good show. It's a lot of incredible laughs. Like, my neighbors absolutely hate me for how loud that I laughed while I was watching this show. But, you know, it is what it is.
From what I recall hearing, because I think you'll remember that, like, the season finale of season 6 of the New Girl felt like it could have been a series finale very easily.
Yeah, it was very much like season 3 Community, where they weren't sure about their future.
Right. Jesus, like, any season finale on Community from season 3 forward, definitely, there's always the, like, them putting the,
like, if we don't make it, like, this is it. Yeah. Yeah, they
vibe to it. And the plan was for New Girl to end, period, full stop after season 6.
That would have worked.
But Fox realized that the syndication package for it would be worth just that much more if there were 8 more episodes.
Oh, right.
Yup.
Yeah.
And so then that happened.
Oh, also, actually, I take it back. I don't, like, that would have worked as, like, a show if they ended at season 6. But one of the things that, like, New Girl had at its core from the very beginning is that they were, like, somewhere between poking fun at and actively deconstructing the manic pixie dream girl trope with, like, Zooey Deschanel at the center.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that, by design, was, like, making fun of or, like, pointing out, like, the absurdity of various, like, romantic comedy tropes. But season 6 straight up ends with a romantic comedy trope. Like, it's like the scene where, like, they're both at the loft and Jess is moving out, or has moved out, and this is, like, the last chance that Nick may possibly have to see her. And, like, Jess tries to get back in because she wants to say something to Nick, and Nick is in the building. And then, like, they switch places. Like, Nick ends up on the street and Jess ends up in the loft. And eventually they meet in the elevator. And, like, That's, like, the end of this presumably series, but definitely the season. And it's just, like, we end with, like, a silly rom-com trope. And it feels like, at that point, I mean, obviously, in lesser examples previously, that, like, the soul of the show was kind of lost at that point, which sucks. But, like, I know they were just trying to sell it so they could show it in other places. And the show is still good as far as TV goes, but it definitely, like, lost its way very early into, say, season 5.
And as Abed Nadir once asked, what shows ever peaked after season 6?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Tegan, you and I have played a video game. It is the same video game.
We have.
Yeah.
It's Horizon Zero Dawn. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Well, they both have actually played that.
Yes, I believe that everyone here has fucked with robot dinosaurs before.
Robot Dinosaurs. I'm very excited about Robot Dinosaurs, the sequel. So excited that I decided to finish up the DLC for Robot Dinosaurs, the original.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I've gotten like $10 out of that game for sure.
Hell yeah.
I never fucked with the DLC.
It's part of the PlayStation Star Sale! You can buy the whole thing. The whole thing right now is on sale for $14, so, like, not as good as the $10 I spent, like, 2 Christmases ago or whatever. Last Christmas? I don't know. Nope, the Christmas before. But yeah, it was a good time. I highly recommend it.
Cool.
It was hard. The DLC was hard, and it definitely asked some more questions that I hope are addressed in the next game.
I am looking forward to that next game. I just don't know how I'm going to find time to say fuck with the DLC of Horizon Zero Dawn when I am being a samurai man.
You're busy being a samurai man?
I thought you were going to be a shinobi.
Okay, to be fair, I'm mainly being a shinobi.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a satisfying game so far, Tegan. It's got good feels. I love the timing on the title card. I think that they, like, break the title at the exact right moment. He's like, okay, you go to your brother, I'll go here, we'll meet back up. You know, bam, camera pulls up, credits roll. Like, it's got a very good opening dramatic feel.
It's got a movie moment. Like, the whole opening credits feels like a movie. It's very well done.
I feel like the storytelling is very cinematic. And I don't mean that in a way where I think a lot of times when you describe games as cinematic, like that's kind of like code for some of the most exciting things that happen are taken out of your hands, like might happen in some Uncharted games. But like, I don't think that's the case here. I feel like the most exciting stuff is stuff which is in your hands, but that the storytelling is very like suggestive of film and feels like film. I think that the way that like it layers storytelling around training in the very early game is very good. A lot of times this is essentially the tutorial section is bad because they don't have any like narrative conceits to teach you something. You just have like, okay, like, and here you are standing in the garden with like your uncle until like, they don't do that. They don't like make you learn every system in like a single like tightly constrained area. Stuff marries to the narrative very, very well. The flashbacks that happen during the tutorial section make sense based on their timing and like what's happening in the flashbacks. Yeah. So what was the very first mission that you head toward, Tegan, like once they let you loose? Like once they're like, here's the map, here's how to put a waypoint on the map, go.
The first thing we did, we started finding foxholes.
Okay, so
we didn't even do any missions, we just wandered. And then we just started with like, well, let's head towards the first mark on the map and see what else we find along the way. And that's kind of how we just went.
Okay.
Alex has been doing a lot of the side missions while I have had to work or whatever, so that way I don't miss out on the story.
So I think we have talked on this show about like deliberate open world design before, and how like if you put something here in the in the context of another space, it's likely to be discovered, which is like how you can build narrative in an open world and even like teach players lessons about like their own capabilities.
Right.
When they set you loose, it's in that like large open field and they're like, okay, go. And there's like 2 mission markers on your map. One is to go help the thief rescue her brother. And 2 is a village where you think you can recruit someone to join your cause. And those are your 2 mission markers. And
we helped Yuna first because I was like, companion, immediate companion. And Alex was like, okay, immediate companion it is.
Right.
So that's the direction we headed.
And I thought that the smart thing to do was to head toward the one that said, go find someone to join your cause, because that was what the dialogue was when you parted ways with Yuna.
Right.
You're like, I'm going to go do this, and then I'll help you and your brother. And I'm like, well, then I guess I'm supposed to go do that first. Which point, if you just ride in a straight line toward that waypoint, the game hits you with its first, like, fuck you, know the limits of your capabilities moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which we fucking missed, I guess.
Yeah, which is this, like, incredibly, well-fortified stronghold that you can, like, liberate. It's like, okay, liberate this stronghold. And, like, whenever you come across, like, strongholds, Mongol strongholds, it's very much like the Far Cry outpost conceit, like, liberate this outpost. But, like, putting one of those and having it be especially well-fortified in between you and your first mission waypoint, I guess, is to, like, teach the player to not do what I did, which is just ride in a straight line and, like, chew at the first thing that you encounter. Like, explore more, like, go look at, like, small stuff and, like, and build your skill tree. Is because, like, if you just, you're like, well, fuck it. If it's here, I should fuck with it. I was like, all right, Fortress, let me try and fuck with you. And I'm like, this is a bad idea.
Like, I made a calculation, but damn, I'm bad at math.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, the limit is not 1.
The limit is how many times can I die before I give up?
One thing that I've seen in, like, some of the critical conversation around this game is that there was an expectation, or, like, not an expectation, but maybe a hope, since Ghost of Tsushima seems to be sort of, like, combining a lot of the lessons that have been learned over this past generation with, like, open world games. Would be, like, the inclusion of something like the Nemesis system in, like, Shadow of War. to be fair, Shadow of War had a lot of negatives against it that we have covered comprehensively in the history of this show.
Yeah.
But like the Nemesis system, assuming that it's not, mired in microtransactions, could have been a really interesting thing to like add to the game.
Right.
And I remember seeing a lot of lamentation that there wasn't something like it in like a setting that I think would have lended itself very well to it.
That would have been very cool. I agree.
And being that we had a chance to see what that system looks like unmolested in Shadow of Mordor, which was the first one.
Right.
The one that Warner Brothers, I guess, did not expect to sell a zillion copies, but like Shadow of Mordor was the first major release on this generation of consoles that felt like it justified buying the new console.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many major developers are not counted on there being any demand for PS4s or Xbox Ones, didn't have anything in the pipeline that year. So that was like the Shadow of Mordor Christmas. That's so weird. But yeah, they come along with the sequel and they just ruin it with like, yep, the Nemesis system's still here, but now it's more of a gotcha thing where you're just spending money to get dudes.
Right. I think it would have been really cool, especially in how like understated like the world appears to be. That like if you just happened across a Mongol at say a particular stronghold and they manage to escape and you don't like straight up like rock them, and then later on they show up at a different stronghold, but like they have learned from your battle or whatever, and now they maybe like don't go as far as like immunity as like I think that series tended to do, where like if you almost feed them with arrows, they are now like much more resistant against arrows or whatever. But like at least making it so that you have to adapt your strategy, or even just like adding like a bit of like charisma or like a name to like the character would have been really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, how far are you? Because Alex and I have begun Act 3.
I'm still in Act 1.
Cool, okay. There are some very good abilities that you unlock throughout the game that I feel like are appropriate for not necessarily like your playstyle or whatever, but like for how sort of like folk heroes come up, which is very cool. I'm very excited for you to get to those. Rocky, I think you should also fuck with this game. You should fuck with this game, and we need to talk about those.
For sure. It is on my list of things to do. I have a list that I am moving through. I think I might, well, I don't want to interrupt the Ghost of Tsushima conversation, but I am making progress on my list and advancing steadily toward Ghost of Tsushima. I
would consider upping its priority.
I will consider it.
Just consider.
Rocky, you're not going to play I Hurt Myself Today to see if I could still feel the video game, right?
No, absolutely not.
Well, that's because we're already playing it. It's called Ghost of Tsushima.
Tegan, that is not that game. Even though in that game you kill dogs. Even though you kill dogs in that game, it's not that game.
You do kill dogs.
Fuck.
The dogs are not safe in this game.
I can't pet the dog in Ghost of Tsushima. I'm in a Bloodborne situation here.
You can pet the dog with your sword. You can pet the dog with your sword.
That is a true and deep disappointment.
Well, to be fair, the dogs are war dogs.
They were also war dogs in fucking Dragon Age. I could still pet some of those.
We've made it to 3 acts, and so far we have not found a dog we can pet yet. I will let you know if that changes, but
I appreciate it.
So far you can only murder the dogs, but they are also trying to murder you. So it's fair.
Okay. Yeah.
And they will fuck you up. They will fuck you up.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to try not to ignore the dogs. Brian, go ahead.
I was going to say that the first thing in Ghost of Tsushima that, like, murdered me on the reg was dogs.
Yep. Yep. They'll come out of fucking nowhere, too, because they're, like, shorter than the grass. So sometimes you'll, like, come out of the grass, you'll do, like, a standoff with, like, a Mongol group on the road, and they'll have dogs that are walking next to them, but the dogs are in the grass, so you don't realize they're there. And as soon as the standoff is over, they fucking run out of that grass and kick your ass. It's so funny. They're like, your ass is grass, and I'm gonna eat it. They're good dogs. They're doing their job, and I am doing my job by killing them.
Jesus. Oh, this show's not dark at all.
I can make it darker. You want to turn that dial down? We can do it.
No, Tegan, let it go. Let it rip.
Okay.
Brian, you were saying...
If you would like to pet a dog, Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the games I keep on seeing during this year's like super duper mega long E3 cycle that I am most excited for is a game called An Airport for Aliens, currently run by dogs.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember.
Okay. I feel so personally targeted by that video game.
I remember that too.
I was like, oh god. I'm like, this, like someone is peeking in my, like this looks, oh yeah, this is stupid in one of the correct ways.
One of the correct ways.
All those stock photos of dogs are amazing, Rocky.
They are really good stock photos. Like that I can definitely applaud.
They're really good dogs.
Oh, they are super good dogs. There's a screenshot, which is part of the press kit for that game, which is like a dog whose job is obviously to work the baggage claim at an airport.
Oh, God.
And it's just like this like little happy Siberian husky. And he just has a voice bubble that says, I hate briefcases. And I'm like, yep, this is my video game.
I hate them too, man. I hate them too.
No one give that happy dog a briefcase.
Briefcases are dumb. They don't have enough room. They're not good for your back. You have to occupy one of your hands with them. Just get a backpack, man. Just
get a backpack.
Put that backpack on a dog. Perfect.
I love it.
I love it.
But I think that the reason why it might be a while before I beat Ghost of Tsushima is that there are two other games that I've started playing which feel so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. All right. Panzer Paladin. Holy shit.
First of all, I told you. I fucking called it.
Yeah, he did.
Wait, did he just say that I was going to love it or that he had played it and loved it? Like, I can't remember which.
No, that you
were going to love it.
Oh my fucking God, it's so good.
He sent it to you and said, Brian, you're going to love this game. And you looked at and I looked at it and said, that soundtrack though. And you said, this fucking slaps.
Oh God, it does. It slaps. Oh my God, it fucks so hard. It pounds it like the shores of Iwo Jima.
Oh my God. It does things right that like most people hate, like durable weapon systems and like items like weapons as like tools, like expendable stuff. And it's just like, yeah, like I mean these things are here and like there are a lot of people have done that shit badly, but Panzer Paladin knows what it's fucking doing. It's about it. It understands. Mm-hmm. It's a game for the people.
I love that there are nastier enemies and levels who are harder to kill that you could conceivably just run away from, but that are very oftentimes carrying weapons
that you want
that are worth it.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's the thing. Like, game says, you're going to kill me and it's going to be worth it. And you're going to hate it the whole time, but you're going to be happy at the end of it. Like, go after it. Mm-hmm. It's worth the trouble. The game is worth the trouble.
Yep.
Brian, are you going to do a 100% cat run at some point? I don't know if you will, but, like, it'd dope if you did. For people who don't know, in Panzer Paladin, you play as a cat inside of a robot that uses weapons to destroy, like, demons and the occult that's now real. You can actually jump out of the robot and you can still play the entire game as the cat if you want to.
I like when the game makes you jump out of your fucking paladin. Mm. They definitely made it tempting to do that. Mm. When you're just the cat, there is an incredibly good feeling grappling hook.
Right.
Which you cannot use when you are in the paladin. And also that grappling hook very much functions like a Castlevania-style whip.
Right.
So, like, I want to kind of give people the mouthfeel of this game. Or just kind of, like, set it for them in their head.
Yeah, no, put Panzer Paladin in your mouth. It's not a Switch game.
What if Castlevania Rondo of Blood and Mega Man X had a baby, and that baby lived to fulfill all its potential?
Yeah. And also that baby was a cat.
And it lives in Shin Megami Tensei world.
This is great.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh. That's it.
Yep, there we go. Like, that is the most obvious lineage of Jesus. Yeah. Mega Man X, Castlevania Rondo of Blood, and Shin Megami Tensei.
I'm actually very interested in, like, the dev cycle for Panzer Paladin, because like the way that it's designed is very oriented about like the playing experience. Like they don't really like miss those notes. That it feels like it's extensively play tested, and they listen to that feedback. And it reminds me of something that came out during the development of Bloodstained, Circle of the Moon. Or no, not Circle of the Moon. The newest one.
Ritual of the Night?
Ritual of the Night. Thank you, Tegan.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that the dev said, like in the Kickstarter diaries, was that whenever someone proposed a boss, before it could earnestly be considered to be put into the game, the person that's pitching it needs to be able to defeat the boss with just a dagger. Since it's like a Castlevania style game, you do have a swath of weapons. And in this particular one, you have access to like various special moves that are done with like fighting game inputs, which is fucking excellent for me. But the impetus of having people be able to cross that bridge with this particular boss is to make sure that it is beatable with whoever tries to mess with the game. And they have to like earnestly design the game around the player experience and like intimately understand it. And that seems like something that has happened with Panzer Paladins, and I'd love to see how they got there.
Yeah. The developers on this game, I had forgotten like how much good shit was in their existing catalog. And I was like, damn, like I need to remember that these guys are good.
Run us through the greatest hits, Brian.
So Tribute Games, prior to putting this out, were the developers on the fabulous Mercenary Kings.
Oh, shit, let's go.
Yeah, Flint Hook.
Shit, say less.
And Wizorb. And like Wizorb is fucking fantastic. Easily one of the best like indies on like at the dawn of indies on the Xbox 360. Wizorb was like, what if like a top-down adventure game like a classic Legend of Zelda game was played like Breakout? Yeah. So cool. Yeah, like Panzer Paladin, like it's going for like something that like feels like a Mega Man game and feels like a Castlevania game. It's very obvious like when like developers pick like a very particular color palette or a particular sound card, like if they're trying to like evoke like a specific retro console experience, like what is the exact DNA that they're trying to emulate, call to mind? Oh, like, oh, this game wants to look like a SNES game, or oh, this game wants to look like a Genesis game, or oh, this game wants to look like a Game Boy game. This game is like, oh, I want to look like a TurboGrafx CD game. It's like, it's such a very specific...
It's that particular orange that they use.
Yeah, and the particular, like, crunchiness of the audio, like, it's like those people who are like, hear a Genesis sound card are like, that's not grungy enough. Everything about how it looks is so fucking cool. When you get, like, the cutscenes, I feel like I'm looking at a fan translation that I downloaded.
Actually, I'm very interested in Panzer Paladin's, like, lore.
Yeah, like, it's a great world. The world building is phenomenal. It feels fully realized. That first time they dump you on that screen and they're like, go pick someone to fight, it's like a fucking feast. Like, I don't remember feeling that excited about going and, like, killing my first boss in Shovel Knight. Mm-hmm. There's something which is, like, very, very, like, the world is laid out before you with that map. Panzer Paladin. Probably because the world is laid out before you, and like with a very Street Fighter style map. Like, I did cheat a little bit. I went online and I saw that like most people said like go to Mexico first. That like
Brian, cheating, very naughty.
Well, I mean,
no, it's cool. I don't.
Well, generally with games like this, Tegan, there's generally a boss that you are hypothetically supposed to target first, like a level which is kind of designed as like the foothold to begin the sequence. And I was like, there's probably one of those. Which one is it? I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be Mexico.
Yeah, like how Larudo and the Breath of the Wild. You go to Zora Domain first. Because
right.
That's the easiest one.
Yep.
Even though it's the hardest one because it's a fucking water one. They did that on purpose. I swear to God. Anyway, you went to Mexico.
Yes.
And you kicked a man's ass in Mexico. Legally.
Super good. Yeah, like you're 100% Rocky. Like, this is a game that I think we'll probably spend some time talking about at the end of the year. Like, feels real good. But you know what else feels real good? everything that you do in Carrion, that game is a pleasure to control. I can't think of a game that feel as good to move. Just like the pure movement of the character. Maybe Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Moving in Carrion is fucking delicious.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Like, it feels so good. Strong Reco. It's so much fun. One thing which I don't think was ever really, really clear from the trailers for Carrion, because the trailer is kind of like focused on conveying the movement and the murder, is that Carrion is a Metroidvania. You're traveling back and forth, like, but it's less gear motivated like a Metroid or a Castlevania, and it's more access motivated, like say Doom is, where you're like gaining progressive level of access through your accomplishments. So it has that feeling of being able to do whatever you need to do just based on like your skill within the space, like Doom, but that sense of like increased access that you get from like okay, now I've got the red key card, yellow key card, green key card, etc. But because of the way the game is structured, like with a 2D plane laid out before me, where what is the most important things are my intuitive mapping of the space, remembering like what challenges exist where, plays out more like a Castlevania or a Metroid. So it feels like a fusion of those principles and like the movement, man. The movement in the space where like there's a thing about pushing a controlled stick where you're pushing it in a direction and you're like, this seems instinctive. And every time you try to do something that feels right in Carrion, it works. It was a game that I was standing for pretty early during quarantine, Maneater. And I loved Maneater. The power level was perfect. The Evo shit where you're like evolving your shark was perfect. The comedy was perfect. And it even felt good to do stuff. But the amount that Carrion feels good to just simply do stuff. The movement is so perfect. I just think about like, well, if everything else about Maneater had been the same and it had movement as good as Carrion, I would argue that it's Game of the Year easily. That's how convincing the movement is in this game. Like, I can't oversell it. I would say, like, Rocky, you don't have an Xbox. It's worth buying. If you pick it up on Switch, it's worth the money. Tegan, you have Xbox Game Pass. You have no excuse. This game is completely available to you for free.
It is.
Yes.
Probably still won't play it.
Oof.
How about this? Download it, move around with the flesh pile, and then delete it. Just feel how good it moves to move that flesh pile.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Yeah. It's a hell of a thing. So, that is why, Tegan, it may be a while before I get the Samurai game beat, because gosh, Panzer Paladin and Carrion feel real good.
That's fair. That's a very fair assessment.
Well, Brian, I'm sorry, but I can't relate. I'm ripping through video games, man. I devoured Paper Mario the Origami King, and I really liked it. I have seen people, like, really have a bad time. Like, I've spent more time with the critical conversation around the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw people really struggle with, like, the puzzles. And I know that, like, early on, the puzzles are kind of repetitive. Like, it's kind of like the same, like, 1-2 moves. I realize now, after playing the whole thing, that that's super important. Learning how to, like, solve into, like, a line or a square after, like, 1 or 2 moves is about as integral as, like, learning, like, a quarter turn in Street Fighter. The game doesn't want you to just focus on those things because there's other things that it wants you to do. Specifically, like, in boss battles, both against, like, the Velomentals and the office supplies, they do things to the circle that manipulate your ability to move freely.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, having those maneuvers, like, on reflex is a lot more useful once, like, you're trying to dig into these deeper puzzles that, like, oh, now I can't move this section vertically, or now I can't rotate this single wheel because it's going to pull 2 or 3 at once. And that was actually really satisfying to figure out. Like, I think it was really satisfying as, like, a puzzle combat game. And Well, I agree that people who are like expecting an RPG or even more shallowly just want to play Thousand Year Door again are going to be disappointed. I'm willing to put this as like a firm number 3 in the Paper Mario series. I think Thousand Year Door is still the gold standard, and like 64 is like a close second, and then like Origami King is right behind it. And it's firmly better than Super Paper Mario. I agree that the Origami King is like story light a bit, but the story moments that it really leans into, specifically the story around Bobby and the story around Olivia, who's like your mascot partner, is actually very well done. And like the combat is really fun. The puzzles are great. The collectibles, I wish that there was like a more subtle way that they had integrated it into the game, where like instead of like spending extra time in like an area post story just to like make sure I grabbed all the collectibles or grab each of the toads that I was missing, is different. Like I wish that was like integrated better. To be fair, the toads like being added to your audience don't really seem to do that much different, except for like the cosmetic effect of having like a fuller like toad audience whenever you enter into battles, which is meaningful, I do want to say, but like not necessarily gameplay wise. But the conflicts that were explored, the characters that you interacted with, and like the fights that you had were really fucking great. And I really had a lot of fun playing the Origami King. I suggest that any holdouts at least give it a try, and anyone that hasn't played the Paper Mario series, sincerely spend time with it. I think it's really good.
So, like, you're putting it at a number 3 in the series.
Mm-hmm.
With the constraints that Nintendo has seemingly put on this series because of the way it's treating its Mario IP, do you think that it is possible for it to ever equal or exceed Thousand Year Door?
I think it's possible, but I sincerely believe that it has to be done a different way. The same way that like Super Paper Mario is a very good video game, but like some people would argue not a great Super Mario RPG, and that's because it's not really an RPG. It's a platformer adventure game with like RPG elements. I feel like that the Paper Mario team, I think it's possible, sincerely, that they could make a game that's better than Thousand Year Door. It's just that it won't be an RPG. And some people will like be holdouts because of this like goofy apples to oranges argument. But the Origami King specifically shows that like they are able to make a very good Paper Mario video game that happens to not be an RPG.
Cool. Why is Crosscode the sickest shit?
Brian, you've expressed on this show before that you like games that marry concepts of gameplay experiences.
Yep.
And you also know that Crosscode is a RPG / platformer in, I guess, probably the simplest terms. I feel like there is actually a lot more to it because, like, its combat isn't focused specifically on, like, numbers the way that RPGs are. Well, sometimes you can level your way out of problems. More often than not, in important conflicts, you have to solve the puzzle of the fight. Like, I just recently ended up in a fight with a bull that had been genetically modified in this weird fake MMO that, like, now it can, like, control a couple of elements, which I can too, like fire and ice currently. And what I had to do during this fight, in the first phase of the fight, I had to trick the bull into charging into one of the water blocks behind me that I'd frozen into a solid block of ice so that it would stun it so I could deal damage, right? And then it started coating itself in fire, and then I had these, like, water orbs around the stage. And what I had to start doing was bank the water orbs into like a block of ice, bouncing off the wall so it hit the back of the bull, which would like disable its like fire aura and then run it into like the ice block. And then in the third phase, I had to inflict it with the chill ailment and then land my bank shot and then run it into the ice block. Like, it's much more about like solving how to approach a particular enemy rather than overwhelming with numbers or just hitting your buttons. And then on top of that, like, the game's like story like does what I can only say at this point, all it can to subvert expectations. This is beyond I know how RPGs work. I started to believe in my heart of hearts that I knew how Crosscode worked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew that sometimes I had to shoot at things, sometimes I had to go for shots with specific timing, sometimes I had to platform and I had to trace my path and figure out how to jump where I was going to jump and then make those jumps. Sometimes I had to solve puzzles, sometimes I had to talk to certain people. I started to get the lay of the land, right? I cleared 2 dungeons, I've survived 2 duels, and I had joined a small guild, and we were going off on a raid event. And we did a raid event that had me learn a little new things, but, you know, it's nothing outside my wheelhouse, nothing I couldn't figure out given the tools provided to me, right? And then I get to, like, the next section where I'm supposed to go fight the boss of the raid, and, like, my teammates go through, but I don't go through. I get teleported someplace entirely different, because once again, I'm not exactly supposed to be in the game. I'm, like, pretending to be a player. And someone realized what I'm doing, and they pulled me out into some weird extra game area where I fought some, like, crazy AI that, like, after, like, even, like, albeit defeating, transported me to some unknown part of the game where no one could find me. And it was surrounded by, like, crazy powerful enemies that could, like, control my movement in this space. And there were, like, weird, like, bare bone plot things that were shown up. As if, like, I wasn't in an official part of, like, the MMO release, but someone who's running the MMO pulled me out of it and hid me in this space.
That fucking sounds like a one time I dreamt, like, crazy-ass dream post.
Right?
That doesn't sound like it's real.
But take it was real. I played it with my hands. I did it.
You saw it with your own eyes and played it with your own 2 hands.
Right. And
Wild.
And then it turns out another one of my guild members, who thankfully is a lot stronger than I am, was also pulled in this space with me. But unlike me, like the player who realizes that my character is probably an AI and I don't really log out of the game, is actually trapped in an isekai. Like, they're just like, wait, I can't log out of here. What do I do? And then we end up, like, going on 2, like, missions that lead us to rooms that seem like real places. And then after the second one, we realize that the 2 real places that we went to were actually the workplace of my guild member and his actual bedroom. That somehow the game was able to recreate those spaces in real life.
Hey, I hate that.
Yes,
hey, I fucking hate that. That's horrifying.
And then we had to get out, right? Like, we found there's a tower and a place that basically now we have a new dimension of gameplay. Rather than, like, platforming and, like, combat and action-adventure combat, now we have a stealth sequence we have to get through. And then once we're moving our way through the stealth sequence, we get separated in an instance thing, which is something that's, like, the game has already taught us. Like, even though we're in a party, we can enter certain spaces where we enter an instance where we have to do it by ourselves, right? But since we're in this weird, bizarro, like, game area, we don't actually want to be instance. We want to be together as much as possible. And the third-party person that's, like communicating with my character, who, like, also has recently been revealed to actually work at the company, but is doing, like, something against company interest by having this character be in the game, is basically hacking the instance so that we can break in between instances. So, like, there is a puzzle in the room, like, designed as if the game is designed for us to solve it. But now there's a secondary puzzle that we're solving to try to get to, like, the area where we can break through into a different instance. And so now we're dancing between instances together as a group to, like, avoid this, like, character that trapped us in this weird space. It's fucking fantastic. And I didn't really fucking mad that I didn't play this, like, a year ago. Because this absolutely should have been a part of our Game of the Year conversation last year. It will be a part of our discussion this year. But, like, Crosscode is just fucking great. Like, the puzzles are designed in a way that, like, are pretty difficult, but, like, every time you solve them, you feel like a fucking genius. And, like, the combat encounters are fun and, like, interesting. It's not just press this button or use this crazy cool build and hit this button X amount of times. Like, you have to, like, engage with, like, the space. The platforming is, like, rewarding, where, like, you're running around and it's like, hey, I want to get to this spot. How do I get here? And now you're looking at, like, multiple level, like, setups of how this, like, area is pieced together. And, like, wait, if I could jump here, if I could make this bank shot, if I could move over this, and it forces you to ask questions to interact with the space. And it's, like, the epitome of what interactability is supposed to be in a video game. Like, it's much more than, like, a puzzle that they want you to walk through or, like, experience. It's something that they want you to fuck with. And It's beautiful, man. That's why Crosscode's the sickest shit. Like, obviously.
It appears to be with phrases like pinnacle of interactability and me, like, singing the praise of how good it feels to move and carry, and that, like, you know what? And also, like, I think there was a lot of talk about, like, video game mouthfeel around Panzer Paladin, that, like, how a game feels is high on our list of priorities this week. Hell, I think it's even there, probably, like, less articulated, but certainly present in any conversation around Origami King or Ghost of Tsushima, because it's just like, I ain't got time to fuck with a game that doesn't feel good right now. Like, if I wanted to play something that felt frustrating, I would live in a world where there's no quarantine. I don't mind if something's like hard or hard to balls, just feel good doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I need that. Feel good doing it. There are plenty of games out there which are hard, but if it's no fun to move, if it's no fun to be there, if it's no fun to do the thing, then, like, I'm not going to have the patience to get good or give it another few hours to see if I like it. And then I just don't think that the curve is damning. But, like, these are games that feel good. Like, Tegan, we did not talk about in the Samurai game how fucking good it feels to ride your horse in that game.
Yeah, no, we really didn't.
Oh, yeah. And, like, there are lots of games that, like, where riding a horse just kind of feels okay or even a little shitty. Shout outs to you, Red Dead Redemption, where, like, the horse is bad. You know, you're just like, fuck, I'd rather just run around because, like, riding a horse feels stupid. But they just fucking nailed it in this video game. Some good-ass horse riding.
They really did. And the horse riding is also, like, action movie, like, dynamic.
Yes.
At the same time, without being like, here we are, clomping down a road.
Yep. It's weird how good it is, even compared to, like previously, I very much enjoyed the riding in Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I hate the riding in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, no.
I never ride anywhere because I'm just like, all these horses are slow. They should be so much faster, and they're not. They're giant machines! They're giant rockets! I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, it's weird how, like, in the space of just a few years, the writing in Ghost of Tsushima just feels that much smoother, just, like, that much more, like, considered. How your mount feels is such a make or break you thing in video games, and I just think back to that fucking cowboy game from a few years ago where it's like, you would think that in the fucking cowboy game riding a horse would feel better, but oh no. Like, ugh.
Well, to be fair, have you ridden a horse in real life? It does not feel that great. Oh, I'm kidding. Horseback riding's fun.
I think I rode a horse once. I was like 5. His name was Popcorn.
Aww, cute. I've ridden horses a couple times. It's mostly fun. You need strong legs to ride a horse, though. Like, you really do.
Well, you know what? I've realized that, like, while in the past I did have extremely strong legs, my legs need to be stronger.
Yes. Mine too.
But yeah, Brian, Crosscode is the sickest shit. Don't at me.
Don't at me, and apparently you need to play it, so.
I'm gonna keep posting videos for people who don't believe me. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I swear. Like, whenever I figure out a sequence, and, like, it's tight, to be fair, and it takes a bit of time for me to get there, it's like, okay, so if I make this jump, and I hit this shot, and then I slide across this thing, and I hit this shot, I can definitely make it across this sequence. And then I do it, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is fucking fantastic. And it doesn't go away. I've been playing the game for, like, 25 hours now, and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah, I need to get in there. I need to at least, I need to feel it.
For sure. I have been playing a game that has recently started to make me feel bad, which is Apex Legends. And it's because I'm playing ranked. That's on me. I'm not a shooter. I'm not one of those dudes. But, like, I'm trying to get there. And I may have made a slight miscalculation when developing my ranked strategy. I remember mentioning earlier that as you ascend through ranks, the idea is that instead of having you like yo-yo between ranks like indefinitely, you get hard stopped at whatever rank you're currently at. And whenever you enter a rank, instead of like gaining points for just winning or losing points for just losing, you have to pay points to join, and your goal is to like end up with a net positive at the end of the match. And I have recently reached gold, which means it requires that I pay 24 points every time I enter a match. And for me to break even on those points, let's say I don't get any kills, I need to make it to top 6, which isn't impossible, but it is kind of annoying to survive to top 6 in places where people are much better at shooting and much more widely spread around the map because they don't always want to fight immediately. But 24 points is equal to 2 kills if you also make it a top 10. So if you get 2 kills, you survive to top 10, you will always net 10 points. If you kill no one and make it a top 6, you will always net 6 points. And like that's designed like on purpose, but like there are some times where like I will be playing with randos and I will make it a top 10. So I'm just kind of hanging out, but I have no kills because I've just been cruising, picking up gear. And then my teammate will take a bad fight. And while like, you know, the chance of us surviving increases if we're all fighting together, if we all run into a bad fight and die, then we're all dead. And then we just lose those points. And that is becoming more likely when I know specifically that people take bad fights. And I haven't pieced together the ping that I used to do in League of Legends where I see someone about to take a bad fight and just ping like, no, don't go there, like as they're walking. And sometimes they'll go, but then they'll just die, and that'll be that. But like as you like ascend through ranks, when you say like, no, I see this guy, he's right here, and they're like, oh, my bad, and then they won't take the fight. I'm not sure how to do that in Apex yet. So I've kind of been like languishing near like mid gold rank because like I'll enter into games where we'll either get killed quickly or like we'll get killed before we get to break even. And that's been annoying. I'm sure that this is just like the next thing I have to do before I make it to plat. And since platinum seems to be like the middle rank in the game, I think that's where I want to end this season. Last season, I just kind of got to gold 4 and was like satisfied with where I was and then just left it. So this is definitely a new opportunity to grow, but you know, I'm feeling the growing pains currently. That's where I'm at.
When I play ladder on Hearthstone, as opposed to like tavern brawling or casual play, I reach a point on ladder where it just becomes this like absolute push. The sensation of like laddering is the secret is that it doesn't matter if it's as low as 51%. In order to advance on ladder, you just reach a level point where the only thing that matters is just winning more than losing. So if you lost 4 games, you need to sit there until you win at least 5.
Right.
And there's a point where it becomes drudgery because the only way to succeed is the only way to succeed, and there's no more like room for strategy. There comes a point where like you're on the ladder. There's like the top 2 net decks are the only thing that you'll see because like there's the one and then the deck designed to counter that one. Do you think that you've reached a point in Apex where it is drudgery and there's only one possible successful strategy to like place top 6 in a match? Like, have you gotten to the place where like fun is entirely removed?
No, not at all. It's just now I'm losing more than I have been. Like, basically, I feel like I'm hitting like a real wall now. Last season, which was, I don't know, 2 months ago, I basically made it to gold with relatively little effort. Like, I would, you know, pick my fights like properly. I wouldn't engage in like a lot of nonsense because I understood the name of the game was survival. Like, it wasn't run into fights and like win/lose. Like, it was survive as long as possible. And I did that pretty effectively. I picked up a good number of dubs. Like, I wasn't really mixed up about it. And now I'm at a point where like gunplay is a bit more important. Like, I actually need to know what I'm going to do in a particular fight and like how to like synergize with my teammates. If my teammate runs in, what can I do to reduce the danger that they're in currently? Like, now, like, I've paid more attention to things like character selection, where like when teammates are picking certain things, I am more disposed to pick things that will likely help them. If I am in a situation where like everyone's deciding they're going to go do their own thing, I know how to orient my gameplay so like I can go do my own thing. Because the truth is that in a ranked game, if you die, like when there's 12 teams left, but I survive the top 4, everyone gets top 4 points. So like, I'm not super worried if like they actually run off and die on their own than I was previously. Because like, if I survive, we all get the points, and that's what's important. And so like, I'm not going to run into a fight to res them so they can continue playing if it means that I'll likely die in the process. I'll definitely just let them sit there. They took a bad fight, and that's not my business. Also, like, while there are certain guns that are meta and like guns that I like to prioritize, there are definitely guns that I prefer to play with. And weighing that choice is definitely more valuable now. Like, it's not just like, I'll pick whatever. Because, like, there are some things that, like, simply work better than others. And there are guns that, like, in a pinch that I've discovered are actually really useful. Like, for example, one of the sniper rifles, the triple take, fires, like, a burst of 3 bullets in front of you. And while it's useful at long range, because like if you miss aim, you have a better chance of hitting, albeit for less damage. And like if you don't hit with all 3 bullets, like it's less damage overall, but like there are tools in the game and like strategies to avoid that. But like if you land someplace and there are like nearly no guns around you, but if you pick up a triple take, that's technically an unofficial shotgun. And that's really useful in the early game until you can grab something else. And things like that have internalized into like my flowchart that allow me to be more effective. And that is interesting, like that sense of like discovery and engagement with the meta, which is meaningful to me.
Yeah.
I don't think anything about Apex's meta is quite solved. There are definitely things that have like more chance of success, which I think is where metas should be and likely end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there isn't like no one solved Apex Legends. No one like has like a guide like, this is how you make it to Apex Predator every season or whatever. None of that shit is real. If you can't shoot, you can't shoot. If you make the wrong decision, that's fine. But like, there are a handful of decisions you can make. Like, we're playing like a 4-dimensional game here.
Okay, so is there enough that gets changed each season that people won't get materially closer to solving that question? Like,
yeah, like two things that I note specifically is that while guns do get cycled out a little bit, like what they'll do is that like, the drop packages that come down and sometimes weapons are golden. And like, that means like the gun has like all attachments. There are versions of like that gun that are simply on the map, but they're usually like low tier stuff like pistols. So like you'll get like a fully kitted pistol or like a fully kitted like SMG or something.
Right.
But there are some weapons that are just straight up taken out of the spawn rotation and that will only show up in care packages. Currently, there is a particular shotgun, a particular machine gun, and a particular sniper that is in like the care packages. And like 2 months ago, that wasn't the case. There were other guns that were in the thing, and there were different attachments that like were set with certain guns. And like they're playing with like various like tools, like how well like shields and like helmets mitigate damage. And they're also like playing with things that I talked about, like when they did the event, like the Evo shield, which is the shield that increases like defensibility the more damage you put out over the course of a match. And even things like playing with like the respawn beacons, where sometimes they're straight up on the map as like fixed points, but like now they're spawning both in packages and in like the supply bins. So like you can create an opportunity to respawn a teammate if like going to a particular respawn point isn't like a good strategic move. They're doing things to like enforce like diverse strategic options and creating avenues that don't lock players into like certain fixed outcomes, which is nice.
I still don't think I want to get back in.
Yeah,
still,
for sure.
Still terrified of that game.
I was just venting, like I'm having a bit of trouble with it, but I'll get through it. Teagues, what's your new cause build? What's this I see on the dock?
It's a mistake already.
Jesus.
I already know. So, one of my friends who cosplays, his name is Jack. He's very good at cosplay. He's the actual real life Link. He's the actual real life Link. That's not what his handle is, but like that's what he is. He is Link. And he drafts most of his own patterns or like modifies them rather heavily. And so I was like, oh, can you, since, we're like half in quarantine, can you teach me how to draft my own patterns so that I can actually, like, make a costume that fits me? Because I don't know how to make a costume that fits me. I always make them too big on accident. So, and he was like, yeah, what do you want to make? I want to make Asuna from Sword Art Online.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, but here's the thing. So, she's got 2 new outfits right now. Technically. The first one is the one from the anime, and the second one is the one from the game. And so, naturally, I'm picking the one from the game, which I just sent you guys in the Skype chat and will be available in the show doc when it goes up online for our Patreon subscribers. Haha, subscribe to Patreon. You can see the fucking costume I'm talking about.
I dig the gradient leggings.
Yeah, right. She's beautiful. She's so pretty. And he's like, Tegan, that's going to be very hard.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not going to be that bad. And he's like, that armor, though. And I'm like, I don't care about the armor. I'm worried about the dress part. Like, I can always commission the armor, but, like, I want to be able to make the dress part. And he's like, okay. Well, we're going to have to build it around a caged crinoline skirt. And I was like, yeah, I know, but, like, it's a circle. It's fine. I've made circle skirts before. And he's just like, Tegan, that's not a circle skirt.
It's not a circle.
That's not a circle skirt. And I was like, it's a circle, it's a skirt. It's whatever. And, like, I know I'm gonna have to do, like a couple different, like, slices to make it, like, I'm gonna have to cut it out like it's a pie. But, like, oh, yeah, it's a circle, it's a skirt, it'll be fine. And he's like, no, it's gonna be hard. You don't understand. And I'm like, I do understand, but also, I don't know what I'm doing, so it doesn't matter, because I have the confidence of someone who thinks they can kill God. And
yeah,
he's like,
Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah, I wish I was like that. So then I'm like, okay, well, we can make her other new outfit, which is the new outfit from the anime. Which is gonna be a bitch for different reasons, mostly involving her wig. Because, like, you see in this photo, her hair's, like, to her butt, which is, like, her normal length hair. In her other outfit, it's, like, down to mid-calf.
Tegan, this is ridiculous.
It is, I'm not the one who designs the Sword Art Online costumes,
That's
my
fair.
dude. I am not that bold, but I am bold enough to go, I can make that. And I'm like, this one looks so much harder, this pink one from the anime. And he's like, no, it's not. He's like, this one's not harder, this one's much easier. And I was like, but it has a zipper straight down the middle of the front of the dress. And he's like, Tegan, zippers are very easy to put in. And I go, I've never put in a zipper before.
Tegan, I think Jack is right here.
It's terrifying. And he's like, no, that'll be very easy, I promise. And I'm like, I don't think I can do it.
Tegan, I think you need to trust Jack in this particular.
Yeah, I do need to trust him. I know. He's a very good seamster. Seamster? Is that the male version of seamstress? I'm gonna assume so.
We are paraphrasing.
He's a cosplayer and he's good.
Yeah.
So...
Yep.
he's like, the only thing that would be hard on this one would be, like, those armor bits. And I'm like, that's less armor bits. But also, I could still commission that. Like,
That armor skirt on that first one is bananas, Tegan.
It's not that bad.
Tegan,
It's
there's
not
like
that
3
bad.
layers to it, and there's belts on it.
Yeah, there's belts on it. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Tegan.
It'll be, like, kind of heavy, but if you build it out of Warbler... Okay, so I have the Kamui cosplay books.
Mm-hmm.
You could build that out of some lightweight Warbler as long as it's bent to the right shape. It's not gonna matter. And it's already got, like, those big seams down the middle of it, so, like, you don't even have to make your seam work super fancy. You can just be like, that's where the line in this design is, and that's it.
Wait, does it actually go all the way to the bust? Is that what I'm looking at here?
For which one?
On the first one.
On the first one?
Like, it's like the skirt and, like, it connects up to the bust?
It does not connect up to the bust. It just stops on her hips. It's bullshit. Sword Art Online armor is bullshit. The white part, okay, so the white fabric is separate from the white armor. She has, like, a bra piece, and then the 3-tiered thing on her skirt, and then that part around her hips. But the white part is actually, like, 2 layers. There's the top part, and then it goes down around, like, the 2nd tier, and then there's a longer white skirt underneath it. So it's like a jacket and a skirt. But it's all connected together.
Also, there's, like, a red layer. Okay, Tegan.
Yeah, there's, like, a red layer skirt underneath the white skirt. Yeah. So I was like, this is what you do. So you get your cage crinoline, right? And you buy one of the ones that has the front part cut out. You know? Because they sell those. And then you do your white layer skirt over top, your red layer skirt on the underneath on both sides of the cage crinoline. And you put snaps along the front so that you put it in it like a pillowcase. And then you can put magnets on your like armor pieces and magnet them to the inside of your cage crinoline. Like, I've already figured out how to do it. I just don't know how to sew.
Tegan, I swear to God, I'm actually upset because I might have to watch the Sword Art Online movie just to see her move in this. Like,
oh no, this is from the game.
I'm not going to buy a Sword Art Online game, Tegan. I'm not going to do it. I'll watch a Let's Play, I guess.
It's bad. No, like, it's ugly. The game looks so ugly. It's bad. But, like, that outfit, though... And I found the shoes online already, so I don't even have to build the shoes. I don't have to build the shoes. I can just buy the shoes for like $30. And like, of course, because it's Asuna, like, what does the back of this look like? How am I ever gonna see the back of this? It's just her fucking hair. Like, all you see is her hair. What does it look like? Who knows? Fuck me.
Wait, the sheath is underneath the armor bit?
The sheath is underneath the armor kit, yeah!
Oh my God.
Because, fuck you, that's why. Because it's Sword Art Online, this is built for form, not function. Not function. Yeah. But, like, all of Asuna's costumes look like this. Literally, if I build one of these costumes, I will be able to build all of the costumes. Because they're all the same costume. They're the same fucking shape. They're the same color palette. They're all the same.
Oh my God. Tegan, if you actually manage to build this, I want you to make me a Nyanta cosplay from, like, Log Horizon. Or
which one's
maybe
Nyanta?
Shiroe.
Hang on.
Nyanta, he's the Catman, like, swashbuckler.
Oh, God, no, what you want, okay, is you want someone who does fursuits to build you the head and build you the gloves.
You know, I probably won't actually wear the cat head. I don't care about that.
No, do the cat head! Do the fucking cat head. It doesn't matter what your suit looks like at that point. If you have a good cat head, you're gonna get thousands of photos and you'll be all over the internet.
Oh my God.
I already know the strat.
And I'll just lie about my name so that no one can put... Then someone's gonna show up one day, it's like, hey, is this you? And I'm like, what? No, why would you even say that?
Do I look like a furry to you?
Do I look like a furry to you? And I wouldn't say that in real life, Tegan. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. I said it with my own mouth. When I talk about, like, the Rivali cosplay, the Dream Rivali cosplay, it is literally a fursuit. It's a fursuit. It's just the wings and the head are fursuit, and you need a fursuit person to build it, and then you're just like, do I look like a furry to you? And the answer is no. There's a word for it. I don't know what it is. What are people who dress up like birds called? I don't know. I know, like, lizards are scalies and shit, but...
lizards are scalies. Fuck, I don't think... Do bird furries have a particular nomenclature?
They gotta. But look at the fucking physics in this dumb goddamn dress. Look at that. That's fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. And I'm gonna make it.
There's no way this armor piece, like, is held up like this.
The armor piece is held up like that, and it's glued to her leg, except when she's, like, spinning.
That's fake, Tegan! That's not real!
It's fucking dumb. It's so good. I hate everything.
Also, bird furries are called featheries. We were overthinking it.
Oh, that's easy. What the heck? Why can't they be like fluffies or something? Downies? I don't know.
There are also called avians.
Oh, avians. Okay, that makes more sense.
Avians are featheries, yeah.
But yeah, like, literally every fucking Asuna costume looks like this. So if I can build this one, like, I can build all of them. It doesn't matter. Most of them have less armor than this one, too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
they
that
got
makes
weirder
sense.
armor, but they have less armor. Like, there's a really good, like, faux upgrade from the card game for her Blood Oath Knight
There's a
outfit
card
from
game?
the first one. Yeah! Look at that fucking armor! Look at that big-ass cape! God! Asuna with a cape and a skirt cape? Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm so mad at that Sword Art Online is a bad anime. Sword Art Online is such a bad anime.
Fucking
Asuna
Asuna
is
double
so
caped
cool.
up on double caped up on a Sunday afternoon.
Right? Fucking unfair, unjust. Like, how dare Sword Art Online be so bad when the design is so good? God damn it. Well, I'll make that too. I don't know how to make a cape. I have to make that skirt. That skirt thing's just a cape around my hips. I'm gonna have to make it.
But this one doesn't have the gradient leggings.
It doesn't have the
though.
gradient leggings.
I mean, she gets greaves, so those are cool.
Yeah, greaves are cool, but no gradient leggings, which is fine. Like, there's a couple of Asuna outfits that have gradient leggings. Most of them are from games. Because they're like, we understand, you're not dumb. This is hard. But one of them is, like, her idol outfit, which that's not an actual thing she actually wears anywhere. It's just a figure. They were like, here she is, Asuna as an idol, and like, that has gradient leggings, and I've seen it done, and it's, like, in person I've seen people cosplaying it, it's so good. I'm just like, I'm not ready to dye anything, but I am ready to make a fucking cage crinoline circle skirt that's not a circle. They're like, oh, Asuna's regular outfit's easy. I'm like, it's got pleats. And they're like, yeah, Tegan, pleats are easy. I'm like, no, they're not. You're lying. I have no concept of what's difficult.
You gotta learn the pleats, you gotta learn zippers, Teagues.
I don't wanna. I have to. I don't wanna.
True.
It's gonna be hard. I just wanna do fun accessories. So, basically, I've started planning out how to make her little gloves, which is not like what I should be doing at all, because I should be working on this other thing, and I'm just like, nah, but I already have white fabric, I can make those tiny gloves. Stupid. I'm stupid. It's gonna be fine. So I don't know when that'll be done. Probably, maybe for OhioCon? I don't know. If OhioCon happens, that's not till January, so maybe.
That would be a big return to OhioCon, though.
Well, okay, so my last OhioCon, like, my big return was, like, the Kasumi cosplay. And that was good. Like, I only cosplay redheads at OhioCon. I don't know why, I just only cosplay redheads at OhioCon. So, like, it'd be good. But that Asuna wig, though, that's so long! That's so long. That's Blossom levels of hair. Where the fuck am I gonna get a wig that long?
Yeah, I don't know.
And you know you're gonna have to buy two. I'm gonna have to cut all the wefts out of one and put them in the other one. Cause, like, that's so much hair, and it's so thick. God damn it. Stupid Asuna, stupid design. Fucking dumb. So yeah, that's my cos build. They're working on kimonos for Link and Zelda for, like, Breath of the Wild inspired kimonos. They're very cute.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah. And my friend is gonna be Zelda, and she was like, can I borrow your Zelda wig? And I was like, absolutely. And she was like, when I'm done getting photos in this kimono, you can totally borrow it for photos. And I was like, hell yeah. But yeah, this is stupid. Asuna's dumb. It's not fair. It's not fair. She's so cute. God damn it.
Okay, so Tegan, tell us about the other redhead, and then Brian can do Skatebird.
The other oh, you mean Horizon Zero Dawn?
Right.
Horizon Zero Dawn redhead? Yeah. I was still mad at that game. I'm gonna have to, I've decided I have to restart it. I mean, I'm gonna do the New Game Plus, basically, but there was a large chunk, you will recall, of, story that I just fucking skipped through.
Right.
Because I was mad about it. And, like, So playing through the DLC part, the Frozen Wilds, I have been very careful not to skip the dialogue. And like, wow, it's really good. The storyline's really good. The fucking fire bears are terrifying, as they should be. That fight was way hard, even though I was like level 60. It's not fair. It's bullshit.
No, I love those fights. It's like, hey, I got all the tools. Like, yeah, I'm still gonna hit you in the mouth. Like, bet, let's go.
Oh, yeah, no. I got all the tools. I upgraded all of my weapons. I have most of the best... Fuck, what are they called? They're like upgrade chips that you like put on your weapons. I'm like, I took the time to buy all the Banuk weapons, all the fancy like armor, I hunted for good, like, coils and shit to put in my thing. I fully loaded up my arsenal. I almost died immediately. I, like, got all the way to the boss, and I was like, aw. I was like, okay, this won't be that bad.
Like that Kingdom Hearts 2 Sephiroth, where, like, you enter the fight, and it's just like, hey, you're at 1 HP if you didn't block this.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. It's just another bear module. It can't be that bad. And then it fucking stood up on its hind legs and launched fireball at me from its boobs. And then it charged at me while it had knocked me over and swiped at me with these paws, and the paws were on fire, Rocky. And I went to the other end of the map, and then I died.
Okay, no, I understand that is an immediately harrowing experience, but, like, that sounds amazing.
I was like, oh, okay. It was not fair. It was an illegal maneuver. Like... illegal maneuver. You have 2 NPCs following you through the whole thing, and they have, like, good weapons, and, like, they're supposed to be doing damage, and they do nothing.
Like, one of my favorite things, I think in video games and in some popular culture, is when, like, some character, some big bad does some bullshit, and then, like, I look over at, like, a ref or whatever, I'm like, yo, can he do that? I'm like, yeah, no, he can do that. I'm like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, you can do that. I'm like... well, I can't do that? And they're like, no, you can't do that, but he can do that. So I was like, okay, stop, reassess. We're coming into this again. And so I stood at the other end of the thing, at the little, like, fighting area, and I waited for them to move in first. And then I used my focus to, like, scan the beast. And I'm like, oh, it's got canisters of blaze on its shoulders, which is, like, the thing that the, like, goo that they develop that, like, makes the fire. And I was like, okay, so I can hit that with a fire arrow, logically. Everything this game has told me has said, if you hit the blaze canisters with a fire arrow, they will blow up. You do that with other monsters all the time. You hit the thing, the arrow gets stuck in the thing, it's on fire for a little bit, the thing's confused, and then it blows up. It does a bunch of damage, and it does, because it also destroys a machine component, it does, like, extra damage for that. And I'm like, sweet. So I get my fire arrows out, and I start nailing this thing, and I hit it every time in the blaze canister, like 6 arrows in a row. And then I just hear Aloy go, it's resistant to fire. And I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean? She's just going, the fire's not doing anything. Of course it's resistant. And I'm like, it's what? And so I have to take another scan in it, and sure fucking enough it is. It's resistant to fire, and I have to hit that blaze canister with an ice arrow. Bullshit. Oh, I'm so mad about it. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. So I get out my big, like, tether gun, and I'm like, I'm gonna treat you like a fucking Stormbird, and I'm gonna root your ass to the ground, and then I'll be able to hit you all I want. This thing can fucking charge to the other end of the map with the fucking tied to the ground. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. You gotta put, like, 8 of those things in it to begin to slow it down. It's bullshit.
That's kind of wild.
It was wild, but anyway, I won. I beat it eventually. It took, like, 45 minutes, but I did it.
For sure. Congratulations.
Yeah, I was very proud of myself. And then things happened. So, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn ends, and it ends in a way where you can, like, they were hoping there was gonna be a sequel, but if there wasn't a sequel, it wasn't, like, the end of the world sort of thing.
Yeah, like the Community New Girl endings. I totally get it.
Yeah, exactly. The Horizon Zero Dawn Frozen Wilds DLC definitely goes, yeah, we're making a sequel. We're doing it. And I was like, because like it asked some questions, and I'm just like, do I get to know the answers to this? No. Okay. Are you sure? Can I buy a vowel? So, like, the main villain, quote-unquote, for the main game is Hades, which is, like, one of the modules from, like, the system.
The one that makes the monsters.
Yeah, the one that... Nope. Hades does not make the monsters. Hades resets the world. Hades' job is to destroy everything that Gaia made so that they can start over. That's its job. So that's what it's doing, is it's trying to manipulate the people, because it says people are bad, and so we're going to manipulate the people to destroy themselves and give us control over all the machines so that we can destroy the people because people are bad for the earth. You know.
Mm.
As you do. Hephaestus makes the machines. And Hephaestus is the bad guy from the Frozen Wilds DLC, because Hephaestus is like, these humans are hunting machines. Guess I gotta make more dangerous machines. And so that's what it does. It's just like, we're making tougher machines because fuck you. Stop destroying my machines. I'll stop making mean machines. But like, that's not gonna work. So now I gotta figure out where the fuck the Hades module is hiding, and I gotta figure out where the fuck the Hephaestus module is hiding, but neither of those things are part of this game. I gotta wait till the next one. And all I want to know is if I can fix the Apollo module. I want to fix it. Let me fix it. I know, like, we're too far in development at this point. I won't be able to fix the Apollo module if it's not already, like, a part of the storyline. But I would really like to fix the Apollo module, please. Gorilla, if you're listening, I would really like to fix Apollo, because that would be fucking cool. I want to just read all of the Apollo. So now I'm just wandering around, and I'm trying to find all of the little, like, text and audio logs and stuff, because I already found all the other collectibles, and they're really fun. But I'm also getting impatient, and I kind of want to just start the game again.
For sure.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm still mad about it. I'm not mad like this game is dumb anymore. I'm mad because I want to do more things, and there isn't more game to play.
Yeah, but you know, it's on the way. It's there. It's just not here.
I mean, they could have just continued to release episodic DLC that was like the full length of the game, I guess.
Actually, I would be interested in open world games adopting like an episodic model a bit more. I'd be interested to see how they would do that in a way that wouldn't conflate them with, say, like MMOs. Mm-hmm. But I think like a long-term open world episodically developed like adventure RPG could be an interesting thing.
It'd be fun, I think.
Brian, skateboard demo, let's go.
Yeah, tell me about the birds.
Oh my god, man. Skatebird is a game. I played a demo for it. Skatebird is... I regret to inform you that Skatebird is fine.
Okay, sure.
Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
There's not a lot there right now. They very much went for the E3 model of demo. And, like, what it is they just dump you into one level, do not provide any tutorial whatsoever. And when you press pause, you'll see, like, a thing that says, "Learn to skate!" Exclamation point. "Have fun!" Exclamation point. I'm like, yes, I came here to find out how to learn to skate. They don't even have, at this point, like, a controller diagram telling you what every button does.
Oof.
Yeah, like I said, like, I'm pretty sure that, like, this demo was put together when the developer still thought there would be an E3 and still thought that there'd be, like a either a private appointment demo environment where he could explain to people how to control it, or have a kiosk where he could, again, stand beside it. But this is not that. So when you, like, just throw it in there and like, all that's instructive is, like, learn to skate, doesn't help a lot. Plus, there's some things in this which are, like, would never have been part of either the Tony Hawk or Skate formula, because there is a dedicated tweeting button. Like, you're a bird, you tweet.
Do you do the tweeter?
Not so much the tweeter, just the
You
the
just
tweeting.
tweet. Okay, I see.
You just tweet, yes. And it's obvious that tweeting in some way interacts with the combo system, but you don't know how it interacts with the combo system. Like, is it a score multiplier? What does it do? Is it only chain a combo if it happens on either side of like these types of moves? So, like this is a thing which obviously you anticipated being able to explain to someone. And it is possible on this map to get outside of what he intends right now to be the playable area. Because when you hit pause, one of the other things that there is a button that says warp back to table. Because you're like in an area where like you're on like a coffee table in a living room, which have like little miniature things for you to skate off of because you're a little itsy bitsy bird. But it is possible to sail off of the coffee table, which then just puts you in like this large expansive living room, and there is not a way to get back onto the table. Also, yeah, again, one of those things that you might assume that there's got to be a way to get back onto the table. Otherwise, why can't I get out? Like, I sailed off the edge of the coffee table and spent like 5 or 10 minutes trying to figure out how to get back on before I pressed pause and saw the warp back to coffee table button. I'm like, this is the most E3-ass E3 demo. I think I might have, based on like the level of explanation which is available, held off on releasing this demo at this time. But I understand, like, that you want to, it's not very often that like consoles have like a demo event which is going to draw attention to a game, and I think that the promise of Skatebird is there, but like Skatebird is as it exists right now, which is an incredibly narrow vertical slice, which is in theory just like a training area without any training, is fine.
All right. I can abide that.
Yeah.
Brian, we have news.
It's true. They had the Microsoft press event.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I have a lot of feelings about this Microsoft press event. Before they got to the first-party stuff, that they had a less formal pre-show event where they showed stuff that was third-party. There were 2 games that were in that pre-show that were more exciting to me than just about anything that was in the first-party event.
What were they?
Echo Generation, I think, just looks absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It has like an Earthbound feel without feeling like it's like cloyingly following it. A lot of times when you feel like a game is like influenced by Earthbound, they're like wearing it so loudly on their sleeves that they're not bothering to develop any identity of their own. But like Echo Generation definitely felt influenced by it without like just directly aping it. And Ball in Wonderland. Oh my god. I don't know who at Square Enix came up with the idea of giving Yuji Naka money to make another platforming game, but I couldn't be more excited for a video game. Holy shit. It's very much like a visual successor to the game Knights for the Sega Saturn. And it looks so gorgeous and weird. There was a very specific kind of weird that Sega was on the Dreamcast, but there was also like a weird that existed on the Saturn. This looks like the Sega weird from the Saturn days, but like just brought forth to current technology, and that's such a weird, crazy thing, and I just can't wait to like really sink in. Like, it looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. How did y'all feel about Microsoft's presentation?
I didn't. I did just watch the trailer for Echo Generation. That looks cool. I'm interested if it has action commands, but during the Xbox Game Studios presentation, I saw that there was a lot of cool stuff going on, but I didn't feel anything about it.
Okay, so something that really occurred to me watching the presentation for Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Infinite looks like a video game for a world where there are still only 2 flavors of Mountain Dew. People still flip their phones. Halo Infinite looks like a early 2000s artifact.
You're saying that the design looks dated.
It very much so. Like, I was sitting around thinking about like various other like franchises, how it's possible to update the trade dress for a game's identity where like you're making very obvious like artistic changes which move the look forward to like current visual standards and current technological capabilities. But like Halo is very much mired in just being a much more high-res presentation of a artistic identity that was established in 2001. Like, imagine if just like nothing about the trade dress of the character Mario had changed since Super Mario Brothers. Like, as technological limits have moved forward, you know, Nintendo has like made choices each time based on the capability of their platform. What does Mario look like? It seems like from about the Wii forward, they've like settled on, you know, a particular visual identity. When they made Breath of the Wild, you know, they made the artistic decision that the default Link outfit shouldn't wear a hat anymore because it no longer feels like natural or sensible or appropriate for Link to wear a hat.
I mean, sure. Halo Infinite does share a lot of like visual tics with Combat Evolved, but I'm not really willing to knock them for it. I think that we haven't had a mainline Master Chief adventure like for the better part of a decade, and a return to that isn't exactly a bad idea, even with the things like the warthogs or whatever, the grunts and the elites, etc. But like, I don't know, Master Chief talks to real people now.
Okay,
and, like,
okay.
You don't have like linear gameplay exactly.
Oh,
like,
okay, okay.
Like,
Whoa. Pump the brakes.
Uh-huh.
I am not saying I am opposed to Halo Infinite, and I'm not trying to shit on Halo Infinite here.
Sure.
In fact, like, there's a lot of what this game is promising me to be structurally that I'm very excited about. The idea of, like, a Halo, which I'm experiencing more of that, like, Far Cry and world structure thing, which did so well for Horizon. And the moment in the demo where you see Master Chief pull up the massive-ass world map, I was like, oh, yeah, I like that. But the thing that I think that Halo is left behind on is that it feels like Microsoft, for better or for worse, freezes the artistic identity, like the visual look. Like, when Gears 5 came out, dudes in Gears still have this, like, ridiculous, overly exaggerated, giant torso, beefy, bullet-shaped head thing that was part of Gears' visual identity in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Something which was, like, more of, like, a common art style with, like, cartoonish-style figures in, like, mid-2000s animation. Gears doesn't move forward visually. Halo doesn't move forward visually. Now, there are things here that I think are good choices, like the lion's share of the gameplay taking place on a outdoor Halo structure, like the one that existed in Combat Evolved, is going to give lots of players, myself included, like a good feel, because that is some of the best things that Halo ever did was like outdoor level design in the first game. You know, we have discussed on this show how the Silent Cartographer is one of the best levels ever put in a video game. But the look of those objects in those spaces all look like it's the exact same art design that would have existed in the first game. I'm not saying the fidelity isn't any higher. It is.
Sure.
For me, I think it comes most into focus when the Master Chief is holding a rifle, which has the ammo indicator visible on the rifle. So you're not just looking at your heads-up display. You can actually look on the object in your hand to see how much ammo is left in it. And that rifle looks like the same version of that rifle that happened 19 years ago. And, like, art moves forward. Art gets revised. Part of what makes ongoing franchises in a video game space feel current is it gets revised, refreshed in some way.
I mean, games still do that. Apex does that. Like,
yeah.
Currently.
Right.
Like, I'm not willing to look at it as dated. I think specifically because it's Halo, and they are, like, aping their own look in relation to, like, Combat Evolved. I think it's closer to something like Halo Classic, and that's not just, like, window dressing. That's just, like, a response to what they've presented. It doesn't feel dated to me. It feels like a return to form.
I think that Halo is in a weird place as a franchise because it's a franchise that was created by one company and one set of artists who created a masterpiece. The first 3 Halo games are extraordinary, unimpeachable, like fucking unassailable masterpieces, and absolutely seminal in like the way shooting and level design and single player and multiplayer experiences work for first person shooters. Like, incredible. But then when Bungie and Microsoft part ways, you have another studio which has to get built up, which is a studio mostly people who had never worked on Halo before ever at all. And now it's like, imagine being a mostly new family of employees being brought in to like work on a seminal series of games, and the entire world just assumes you're going to fuck up and that you're going to like ruin this thing that they love. I think that there probably has to be a temptation to absolutely not deviate from any of the artistic choices that Bungie made, because like 343 is forever going to get treated by people as, well, these aren't the guys that created Halo. Like, this isn't Bungie. Like, Bungie made real Halo, and so now I'll always treat anything put out by 343 with like an air of suspicion. So there has to be an incentive to not deviate. There has to be an incentive to like not change, because if they do change or they do deviate, if they do grow, then it's not real. It's not authentic, because these changes don't come from Bungie.
Sure, but also 343 has had the Halo series for 10 years now.
Yep. Yeah.
They've been in control of it since like 2011,
yep.
And they've made like nearly a dozen like entries into the series since then. Maybe it could be contrived as less authentic for them to return to the aesthetic of Combat Evolved at this point. But I don't know, it seems more like a reset to me. Maybe it is regrettable, but I definitely don't feel that way.
So nothing else really jumped out at you in this presentation, Rocky?
Not really. I mean, I think it's cool that Fable is getting reimagined. Everwild looked pretty cool. I was surprised that the medium was here, and I was like thoroughly bored by like Avowed. Psychonauts is going to please the people that have been waiting for Psychonauts 2. I am unconvinced about Tetris Effect Connected. The Gunk looks like it could be interesting, but only in passing. And New Genesis Phantasy Star Online is a curiosity, but I don't like a couple of things that they presented.
Okay. Well, we have just blasted through a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So let me run it down for me. State of Decay 3, I could care less. I've never really hooked into the first 2. I have very little patience for survival systems and item durability and eating and drinking and shit like that in games. And so doing that plus an irritating zombie combat is not for me. I understand some folks like it. Forza, who cares? Much like Sony, here's Microsoft telling me, please look at the cars this gen. Everwild, I would at this point like to know more about what Everwild is. I thought that the trailer looked cool, which was neat, but I still don't know. They haven't made clear like what kind of game it is. And at this point, I feel like it's time for them to start telling us more about Everwild. Tell me why. I love the fact that like Microsoft shelled out to publish a game from Don't Nod, and this looks fantastic. It felt odd to put it in this particular presentation because it was one of the first chapter of the game is coming out on like August 27th, which is almost certainly, unless we're about to get hit with a super surprise, before the Xbox Series X is out, which means that this will be available on Xbox One. And I felt like this needed to be a showcase for like, hey, you definitely want to go get this new console.
Oh, actually, I don't think that's Microsoft's win condition at all, which like this seems to be indicative of. I don't think that this particular presentation was to try to convince people, hey, you need to invest in the Xbox Series X this holiday. I don't think that's what they wanted to do at all.
Okay. So you think it was more about like making the case for like the Xbox as a platform, whether it is the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X, like you want to be in this ecosystem because here are the games that exist within this ecosystem. Like Halo Infinite is in this ecosystem. Forza Motorsport is here. The games you want to play are on our platform.
Yeah, the platform as a whole, like Microsoft, but also specifically Game Pass.
Yeah. The Ori and the Will and the Wisp, like, update seemed to be a thing that was, like, kind of like odd choice to mention. And they're like, hey, if you already own Ori and the Will of the Wisp, like, you know, it has an overhaul for, you know, Xbox Series X. Like, it'll run at, like, what's going to be, like, 120 frames per second or something ridiculous like that. Like,
124K, yeah.
Yeah. And then they, you know, just mentioned that, like, there are multiple games which are currently out for Xbox One that will, you know, have updates to optimize them for the Series X console, which I think brought more attention around the idea that the way that they're running development for these consoles now makes them feel more like a PC experience. I really want to play Grounded. Because Grounded looks like what Fortnite was in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested if, like, what Obsidian wants to do in terms of story.
Yeah.
Because they really leaned on that in the presentation. And traditionally, this genre hasn't been very story-friendly because it seems to impede on the experience and not add to it. So, I'm curious about it, but...
Avowed didn't particularly excite me, except for the fact that it is Obsidian and it is an RPG. But I go to Obsidian generally for story. That trailer didn't really talk about that. Hellblade 2, of course, I'm excited. Psychonauts 2, I'm, you know, stoked for that. The thing that for me that really jumped out that I was like, you know, this looks really cool were the Medium and the Gunk. Like, the Medium and the Gunk looked like stuff that I really want to, like, spend some time with. The Gunk especially, though, like, that seemed to, like, tick all my boxes.
For sure.
Yeah. I feel like Microsoft would have benefited from segregating Halo as much as possible from the rest of the conversation, because I think that, like, Halo is a lot like Mario or Zelda. Nintendo, oftentimes when they want to do, like, a director presentation related to a new Mario or Zelda game, they'll
dedicate it that.
Exactly. They'll give us a dedicated direct. And there are very, very few franchises which I think are at that level, where if you talk about them and then talk about other stuff the same day, the conversation might as well only have been about, you know, the big franchise. Like Mario is one, Zelda is one, Halo is one. And I think that if they had done this exact same presentation and then would, like, and we'll be back next week with a dedicated presentation for Halo, I think they would have benefited from it. Like, I actually think that Halo should have been held back and it should have been, like, its own, like, dedicated presentation and then been a little bit, like, longer. You know, here's today's presentation and then here's 20 minutes on Halo next week.
I mean, we got, like, 20 minutes on Halo. And, like, and I think that's not enough for it to stand alone on its own presentation. I guess, like, if they had sat down and did, like, you know, interviews and, like, stuff intercut with, like, gameplay, they could have ended up with, like, a 35-minute presentation on Halo.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like leading with Halo on this presentation was probably one of their stronger moves.
Okay. It certainly wasn't as flashy as the Sony presentation.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, like, Sony needs Flash. I think Microsoft is actually really comfortable in their position.
Yep.
Like, there are definitely a lot of people that argue that Microsoft isn't doing enough, but, like, their board's set. And, like, I think they're set for, like, the next couple of years, while, like, Sony is a lot more uncertain.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of things that, like, Microsoft has done to make themselves reliable to somebody who wants to play console video games. Like, there are things I know will be part of my experience if I buy a Nintendo console. There is a expected experience. And at this point, over the last 5 years, Phil Spencer has established, like, a ownership experience for a Microsoft console. Things you know you'll get. And it's been so all over the board for the Sony PlayStation owner experience, especially with, like, the recent changes in senior leadership. We can reasonably know what it's going to be like to own a PS5.
Right.
So, Rocky.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about Kickstarter?
Well, specifically, I want to talk a little bit about a new studio named Rabbit and Bear Studios, who have a Kickstarter campaign, which by the time this is released, it will be a couple of days in. And they are going to put out a Kickstarter campaign to fund a game called Eiyuden Chronicle, which has been described as a role-playing game designed to evoke PlayStation-era nostalgia. The important thing is that it is actually being developed by some of the key creators of the Suikoden franchise and has been dubbed a spiritual successor. The game itself, the screenshots that we've seen so far look brilliant. They are colorful, they pop, they have interesting perspective. It's not quite isometric. It has been compared to Octopath Traveler, but they're not exactly doing like HD 2D. They are using like 2D like anime style models, but like with interesting perspectives. But it's definitely in 2.5D. It has been described that it is an ode to the JRPG genre from the PlayStation era that will feature classic JRPG exploration and battles in high-resolution 2.5D graphics, with a story of war and friendship and a diverse cast of 100 unique heroes.
That's too many. That's too many heroes. I'm sorry. That's too many.
Tegan.
We're already trying.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic. Look, okay, here's the basic premise. Our story begins in one corner of Alaran, a tapestry of nations with diverse cultures and values. By dint of sword, and by way of magical objects known as rune lenses, the land's story has been shaped by the alliances and aggressions of the humans, beastmen, elves, and desert people who live there. The Galdian Empire has edged out other nations and discovered a technology that amplifies the rune lenses' magic. Now, the Empire is scouring the continent for an artifact that will expand their power even further. It is on one such expedition that Sign Kiesling, a young and gifted Imperial officer, and Noah, a boy from a remote village, meet each other and become friends. However, a twist of fate will soon drag them into the fires of war and force them to both re-examine everything they believe to be right and true. So, since it is 100 unique heroes, I don't think we're gonna get like these standard, like, I don't know, 5, no, is it like 7? No, is it 5 or 7 parts of the hero's journey? I keep forgetting.
It's 5.
5.
Okay, thank you. So we're probably not gonna get the standard 5-part hero's journey that we're used to spread over like 60 some hours. It looks like since we have 100 unique heroes, we may get access to just like a bunch of vignettes that tie together into a larger like narrative, which, I don't know, feels closer to what like history actually looks like. Plus, the like battles and like the way that these like encounters seem to be like playing out look fucking great. I'm excited. I'm actually going to throw some money at this Kickstarter. But, you know, since it is a Kickstarter, it is subject to a bit more risk than standard game development or like even game delivery. People definitely remember Mighty Number 9, or even more recently, the successor to Parappa the Rapper, which happened in 2017, named Rap Rabbit, that we haven't seen much about yet. So, like, you'd have to pay money up front and then you have to wait a couple years, but this project looks extremely promising.
Yeah, I think that this has more chance of ending up on that bloodstained end of the Kickstarter scale and not the Barkley 2 Shut Up and Jam, Barkley Gaiden.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're just like, well, it's been forever. Man, look, okay. Y'all people on Kickstarter, cry me a river. I pre-ordered Paprium from Watermelon Games, okay? I don't want to hear it. I pre-ordered Paprium and the Fight Stick.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm never seeing that game. Fonzie escaped to China with the money. Also, fuck the weird retro video game scene where that's a sentence that makes sense. Where you end up trusting people named Fonzie with your money for games for your Sega Genesis.
Hey.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, if it's any consolation, Brian, we did get a model for Luigi in Super Mario 64 before Yandere Simulator came out.
Yeah, we did.
Yandere Simulator is never going out.
Oh, no, of course not. We're going to roast them until, like, I don't know, until the creator dies or whatever. And maybe someone will say it once at their funeral and we'll all feel bad about it.
Damn. God, that leak, huh? Jesus. I feel like everybody who, like, looks at the stuff in this leak so far has found like different things that were like absolutely like just revelatory to them. Like we're like, holy shit, what was that? I think the first one for me was Old Yoshi. Like, what was the Old Yoshi model for in the game? It's like a Yoshi with a mustache and beard and a cane. The model exists for Super Mario World. Mm-hmm. What was this model for? There's also like a weird dancing bug model, and it doesn't look like an enemy model. Like, what is this dancing bug for? But that, like, yeah, that Luigi model, like, jeez. Like, okay, what have been the things that have, like, blown y'all's mind, like, from the leak?
I really like the idea of the Luigi model because, like, it suggests that the game was originally going to be multiplayer.
Yep.
Which would have been a real game changer. I'm kind of glad that they didn't do it, you know, considering that they didn't actually figure it out. If they did figure it out, it could have been really great. But I don't think, like, given the game as it currently existed, if they had just, like, added Luigi as a multiplayer, the game would have been better. Like, I'm not sure that would have been true. They did find, like, a Donkey Kong model in there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was interesting, because, like, especially since, like, Donkey Kong 64 came out some years later, and, like, they needed the expansion pack to make it work. It seems to imply that there were, like, ideas that they wanted to use Donkey Kong for that, like, were simply not possible with the current hardware. And maybe that was something they were throwing around in Super Mario 64 that ultimately made it to Donkey Kong 64.
I think one of the things that, like, blew my fucking mind was a build of the first island from Super Mario World. So, like, that first 4 levels plus castle. And it's those 4 levels. There's things about, like, the layout on those levels which is different. Like, the layout of the castle is almost completely different. And, like, the jumps are very obviously in different places in, like, Yoshi 2, Yoshi 3, and Yoshi 4. But the thing that's a real mind blower is, like, 2 things. One, the time counter looks different on the screen. Like, they hadn't yet settled on, like, an appearance for how, like, the time counter looks. But, like, virtually all of the other textures, except for, like, the bricks and the castles, look like settled business. But the main character, like, the little controllable character, is very obviously, like, not Mario or Luigi. And it looks like Stanley the Bugman from Donkey Kong 3, and the way the file is labeled in this leak is Super Donkey. And I have to wonder, like, was there a time where Mario World was in development as a sequel to Donkey Kong 3? Because if so, that's fucked up.
I mean, all it does is confirm that humans evolved from apes, so...
Oh my god.
I don't know why that's so shocking.
Jesus. Yeah. Nintendo making Stanley the Bugman games? I've been like, nah, it should just be Mario.
Well, I mean, they did the same thing with, like, Crystal, Star Fox Adventure.
Yeah.
I like how excited everyone is. I don't know what y'all are looking at, but I'm happy you're happy.
Well, and then
I did see one all-purple, whoa, rough render of the Kokiri Forest, and I was like, oh, I get why this is exciting now.
Yep.
But, like, that's it. I was just like, oh, okay, I see why this is cool.
I do wish more video game companies were transparent about their, like, development histories, because it's like, it's very, very interesting stuff, and it's stuff that should exist in a, like, historical record. There are, thankfully, like, nonprofits now which are, like, doing work of, like, preserving the history of video games. But it's telling that, like, so much of this stuff and from this, like, Nintendo leak looks like the kind of stuff that would be, like, best suited to, like, museum preservation. You know, like, discarded Yoshi frames from Super Mario World seem like something that should be tracked in some place like a Library of Congress so people can go look at the history of ideas in a game. The idea of Nintendo intending Yoshi to be kind of like a multi-purposed character like we would see in, like, stuff like Paper Mario style games later, like where we're dressing one character up as another character. Like, here's an old man Yoshi with, like, a beard and a mustache and a cane, like, redressing existing characters in the context of other characters. Like, we want to see the history of that kind of thinking at companies. Like, another example was it wasn't a leak, it was actually, like, an intentional release of information. Like Bungie released a whole bunch of documents for Halo when Halo was originally in development before it became a game that was going to be on an Xbox. When Bungie bought themselves back from Apple, because they were originally a video game developer that was owned by Apple, and they were developing Halo for like Macs. And so like what did Halo look like in development in like 1998 when it was supposed to be for like Macintosh computers? That stuff is like really, really interesting to like to see the way like games change, games grow, games evolve. And I think that as a community of people looking to consume art and be well informed by art, this stuff should be available. So as much as I'm excited about seeing stuff like this, I wish this was the kind of thing that like Nintendo was excited to share with us, because I think that all three of us are the kind of people that would, eat up like cornflakes. Like, Tegan, how much would you love a transparent history of Zelda development?
The thing I want to see from the Zelda development is I want to see the original Wind Temple that they were putting in Ocarina of Time. But, like, before they changed it to a forest temple, I want to see that so bad. I want to see that so bad. It would explain so much. I'm sure it would. Like, I want to see what that would have been like. Are there fans everywhere? How do you move around? How is it like? I don't know. It'd be neat. But, like, I'm also for them, like, wanting to, if they do decide to share that stuff, being like, okay, well, we're going to sell you, like, a book of it,
That's fine.
People are going to scan that and stick it on the internet anyway, but, like, I think if there's a demand for it, like, after, how many years of video games, like, that should be available for people.
Yeah. The idea of, like, the archival and academic preservation of, like, game history stuff. If a company wants to sell a coffee table book of, like, design sketches and shit, I'm absolutely fine with that. What I want to see is just that being balanced with, like, academic presentation. Like, I want people to be able to, like, view it, and, like, some stuff, like, and then this is one of the, like, I don't want us to, like, just get into the circle of, like, well, what should or should not be something which is sold in a capitalist society conversation, because this is not the time or the place. But, like, sure, if a company wants to sell a coffee table book of some stuff, that's fine. But I think that there's stuff which needs to be available at, like, a cost-free, like, educational perspective. Like, I want somebody to be able to, like, write histories of, like, the history of, like, 2D character animation and have access to materials that they would need to, like, write that paper. So just let's have the balance of access to, I guess, the balance of, like, paying for preservation. Warehousing this shit and tracking this shit and archiving this shit does have a monetary cost to it, and that which needs to be recovered in some way. So I'm just fine with it as long as it's not predatory. Don't put it behind some kind of wall that makes it impossible for people to ever, like, reasonably access it.
Make an entirely digital online database that you can sign up to for like $5 a month and access unlimited documents.
I don't think they do that. Even if they did it like at the current academic level, which like you pay like thousands of dollars to like have access to, like on a university style basis.
Right.
I don't think the business of like game development wants to open itself to academia, because I think it specifically endangers like their existence. I think academia specifically presents an existential threat to like game development if they become transparent.
Mm-hmm. If Disney has taught these companies anything, is that, like, secrecy is profitable.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But, like, outside of just the idea of them making profit because no one knows how they're doing things, like, the idea is that, like, that kind of exposure opens them to threats. And while I agree that it shouldn't be that way, that people should have access to that kind of information, it's like the same way that, like, I don't know, business schools teach you, like, vague ideas of, like, profitability and, like, teach you how to, like, slice up a graph, etc. But it doesn't really teach you, like, the nitty-gritty of, like, negotiation that well, or like, how to, like, establish yourself in a new market, because that's incredibly valuable. If you actually knew how to do that, you wouldn't be telling kids how for, like, 15 grand a year. Like, you would be doing that and being like a multimillionaire. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's like on an intensely like personal level. But like now that game development is like this huge multi-billion-dollar sprawling industry, the secrets that are involved to like the trade, democratizing them would significantly shrink their interest. And I'm not saying that it would destroy them all at once. It's not like a camel breaking their back or anything. But I feel like something like that would take a large enough bite out of like what they're able to do that they would be less effective at their craft. And I don't know how to balance that currently. What I'm saying is that I agree that video game preservation is interesting and valuable, especially for people who want to learn more about the industry. But I don't think that like Nintendo and like maybe to a lesser extent, and I want this to be super qualified, Disney isn't exactly like jerks because they don't tell people how the sausage is made, even like decades after the fact. I think that there is a significant concern that they're holding by not sharing this information. And when it gets out, it's valuable to us, but like, I'm not going to say it hurts their profits, because like, while they could turn around and sell this stuff to us and they no longer can get that money, like I think like later down the line, if someone finds out, like if someone figures out how to make like Super Mario 64 straight up multiplayer and they just sell that, that may like harm Mario as a brand. And that would be something that's dangerous for them. And that's why they would not want to do it. And that makes sense to me.
I suppose if there are things about how sausage gets made, which is damning to you as a company, I could see how you would want to withhold that information or keep that information quiet. Like, I could see how Nintendo would not want to talk about how Mario games are made, because that would mean then explaining what Mario time is. And
right.
And I'm sure that what their worry would be was like, if we explain what Mario time is, are there people who will then not want to buy Mario anymore?
Sure.
Because they think they're contributing to a oppressive work culture. Everything has its history, and I think that, of course, there's going to be negative things when you like dig into any kind of business which is reasonably large, reasonably old, or reasonably successful. You're going to find things which are not the best, but I think hiding it away somehow makes it worse. I'm sure that like if Nintendo said like, hey, Mario time is a thing that used to exist, but it doesn't exist anymore, people would probably be, less like willing to like stop buying Mario games or think less of Mario. If right now, like if Nintendo doesn't like address the history of a franchise, then who knows? Like I can, as a consumer, assume that Mario time is still happening, that expectation still exists within the company. But like if a company can address its history of the art that it's made, then something that might give a person reservations might do less so, because it gives a company an opportunity to observe its history and then speak to its history and say like, okay, this is the thing we did, we don't do anymore. Like, the answer isn't necessarily keeping something secret forever. The answer is addressing it. Any conspiracy, whether like intentional or not, is reliant upon the participants in it. And the number of things in this Nintendo leak indicate that this is not a hostile hack. This is someone deliberately dumping documents. So like, depending on how many people are relied upon to keep something secret or documents secret, the more people are required to do it, is the less likely it'll be. So like, get out in front, talk about your, like, at some point Rockstar is going to have to like reconcile its history of like forcing out executives and talk about like why that happened and what the internal like culture is like at Rockstar and its history of crunch, because like video games are an art form that requires like historical reconciliation, and it happens whenever any type of like art just shifts from something which is just simply being like mass consumed media to something which is like considered a historical record. People start to look into the history of how film started to be produced and like what abuses were there. Like, I think that video games will find that people don't stop buying MGM movies or stop buying Warner Brothers movies because of like early history of abuses by those studios, that consumers are educated enough and that consumers are morally and ethically smart enough to make a distinction between like, here's what a company was doing 40 years ago, here's what a company was doing 70 years ago, to like, what is a company doing today? Like, you don't have to hide your history, video game companies. Like, there are historical records of value. We're not going to just stop buying your products or stop loving your products because of something shitty that you did 20 years ago. I'm going to check to see what you're doing right now. So like, let us preserve the history. The history is worth it. You don't have to keep it secret. I'm not going to just stop buying your shit because this stuff is knowable. It's not a formula that will give instant success to your competitors to know how you did things. You know, like, the people are an integral component. So like, get it out in the record. We won't stop loving you. Just let us know what the fuck happened and explain yourselves.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I wasn't really talking about impropriety at all. It's more about like the development of a product. Like, specifically, like, say like Game Freak with Pokemon, right? Since then, there have been like dozens, if not hundreds, possibly thousands of different Pokemon likes that people have been trying to develop. And some of them are like harmless, like say Metabots or Yokai Watch. And some of them are really close to the source material, like Pokemon Brown or Pokemon Uranium. And they definitely advance various ideas, like adding like new typings that interact well, like Nuclear type in Pokemon Uranium. And some of them are using essentially hacked ROMs from like other Pokemon games, and that's not great. And like Game Freak wants to like control like way that Pokemon games are made. And so that's why stuff like Yokai Watch is able to exist, or even things now like Kindred Spirits, which is currently in development, and Temtem, which is in like early access. And so like they necessarily diverge without like taking advantage of the work that they've done previously. But like the idea of like the source code leaks, which does provide interesting historical information to people who are interested, it also provides like the results of work that were done by Nintendo employees that could be adapted by someone who has less scruples into some other product that may ultimately be either divergent but still somewhat successful because of work that they didn't end up doing. I mean, to be fair, if copyrights worked the way that they did initially before, you know, Disney got busy, Mario would absolutely be public domain now. And so like things like the Super Mario Brothers like Battle Royale that happened in the style of like the NES game would have been absolutely legal. And like we would have had other things that pop up like it with various like fads or whatever. But like that is not currently the world that we live in.
Well, it is certainly something to think about. At the very least, I'll just geek out over all this shit, which I find intensely interesting.
Hell yeah.
Is that a show?
Yeah, I think that's all our stuff.
Well, I guess give us money on the internet.
Jesus Christ. Okay, hey everyone. Real quick, I know it's been a while, but once again, this is our show. It's called Impossible Coin. We do it every week. You can find it wherever podcasts are found: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Brian, can you do it for me one time?
Oh my God. I swear to fucking God, whoever you are, our SoundCloud listener, singular, you didn't even download the show last week.
Lovely. That's what we like to see.
So I'm glad that somebody was like, why aren't they on SoundCloud? And they're obviously just getting the show somewhere else. Obviously, whatever like they were using to get it before. So you're welcome.
Yeah, so speaking of SoundCloud, there is music at the beginning and end of this podcast. It's produced by our friend, kid brother of the show, Big Soch. You can find his work at soundcloud.com/BigSochNJ. And if you want to talk to him directly, you can reach him on Twitter at Hillary_Swank. We have a t-shirt and logo, and they were both designed by Lori Moran. You can find her on Twitter at Lori Moran and consider donating to her Patreon. And once again, speaking about Patreon, we have one too at patreon.com/ImpossibleCoinPodcast. It is where we are willing to accept your money for the work that we do on this podcast, and also for special bonus content like watch-alongs, audio essays, and other content that we produce for you. We are on social media beyond Patreon. I'm on Twitter, Brian's on Facebook and Patreon, Tegan is on Tumblr, It's all Impossible Coin. There's no underscores or dashes or anything like that. In fact, if you see one of those, let us know, because we would like to have a brief discussion with them. But
Bet they ran some kind of fucking Bitcoin scam.
but that's us. That's the show.
If you are using our name to run a Bitcoin scan, you could at least cut us in.
Yeah, right? Like, what the fuck?
True. I need to know the people out there that would fall for an Impossible Coin Bitcoin scam.
Oh, no.
Like, oh, fuck, Hardbody needs bail money? Bitcoin only?
Yeah, man, he's trapped in the digital world.
Jesus Christ. Peace!
Bye!
Later.
It's